Yeah, hey guys, good morning. I just spoke with President Trump for more than 20 minutes, and he gave some new insight and reaction about the ongoing talks that are taking place in Switzerland and the threats coming from the Iranian regime. President Trump telling Fox News that the U.S. may take over the strait in the future if they have to and collect tolls. The president described this as the United States being the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. And the president said ultimately that would involve the U.S. taking 20% of the oil that passes through the strait. Remember, this comes in reaction to the Iranians saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it and you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country. Now, earlier today, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said this about Iranian enrichment of uranium. The president also reacting to that. Take a listen.
We will not give up our right to enrichment, and they, too, will be forced to accept it. You all know what the so-called President of the United States was saying. He had made a complete 100-degree turn. He was saying that Iran must surrender unconditionally. Iran has no right to do this, it has no right to do that.
President Trump, during our call, responded directly to those comments by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. President Trump told Fox News he better watch his mouth, he better shape up, or we'll take over the rest of the country. And so clearly the president reacting directly to these comments from Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian. And also President Trump talked about the broader memorandum of understanding, indicating this is just a ceasefire extension. This is not the final deal with the Iranian regime. And the president says he holds the cards and maintains a variety of options if the Iranians don't make these serious commitments at the negotiating table. He said, I have a 60-day option, and I can do whatever I want after that option. So again, President Trump leaving a variety of considerations on the table and says that the United States could become the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and collect tolls itself while taking oil, around 20%, the president says. As it relates to oil, President Trump also said that 19 million barrels of crude oil exited the Persian Gulf yesterday as a result of this memorandum of understanding with the Iranians.
In the last 24 hours, or yesterday, 67 ships went through the Strait of Hormuz. The day before, it was 55 ships. So, and in terms of oil and oil products, about equal to where we were before the conflict. So yeah, traffic is flowing through the straits quite nicely. Now that's because of a U.S. military presence. Iranians still have not demined the central shipping channel, but the U.S. opened a separate channel down south, and we've been escorting ships through that for several weeks now, and at very high levels today.
Well, before we begin, let me, at the 7 o'clock hour here, wish every single father, grandfather, brother, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the men out there who are fathers, all you non-gestating parents. Happy Father's Day. I hope it was very good for you. Hope you had a great time. You spent some time with the family. And now let's get to the news. So, very interesting. A lot of stuff is happening. A lot of trash talking is happening. A lot of people are trying to wonder what's going on. Who do you believe? Well, I think over the course of the last 12 hours, something, if you haven't been aware of it, something right now is quite apparent. You can't trust any of these people. I know that sounds tough, but at this point, you're going to save yourself a lot of distress. You're going to save yourself a ton of issues if you just trust the guy you put in office. Because other than him, it seems as though everybody has an agenda. You know the left does. You know the media does. You know the Iranians do. And now you're probably figuring out there's a lot of people on the right who don't know shit. And you're just out there posting things for clicks, for likes, or anything else, and they don't know what's going on. They have no idea. None of us does until he actually tells us, or, you know, a state person, somebody comes out in front of a microphone or posts something. So I posted this thumbnail early, and I really meant it because I'd seen so many people talking so much crap. And it simply says, did America just lose the war? Did we lose the war in Iran? Or is the media up to their usual nefarious gaslighting propaganda and outright subterfuge? I'm going to prove to you in a very short period of time here why you can't listen to basically 90% of the people on X, Facebook, or wherever else. They are absolutely causing people here in our fanfare audience, our fanfare family, to not understand what they are actually looking at. I'm going to tell you right now, straight up, I got no clue. I'm not in the room. I am not involved in the discussion, but I'm not going to guess. I'm going to wait until President Trump or one of his representatives comes out and tells you. But I'm going to show you how you can find out little clues to prove that people are full of crap. Some people are reporting that Trump made a huge mistake, huge blunder. He started a war we are unwilling to finish. Iran now knows we lack the killer instinct. That's what they think, right? They think we don't have the ability to do what we need to do. They think that we're afraid of $5 gas. They think we're afraid of what will happen in the midterms. The most they think we'll do is drop bunker busters way far away. They don't think we're willing to absorb the cost of just a ton of bombing. They will drag this fight out for a decade if we allow them. They will fight to the proverbial death. And they know right now that the Democrats and the media are helping them. They think that we won't be able to even accept 5% inflation or $5, like I said, gallon gasoline. Tough talk means nothing to the leadership of Iran. They believe this was a humiliation. And then a lot of people feel the same way. Either that or they hate America. They think that no one in modern history has ever made America beg for negotiations. They believe that this was the moment J.D. Vance should have gotten on his plane and returned to Washington. The Islamic regime did this on purpose, knowing that the visuals from Switzerland and everybody who would be looking at it would consider this a huge, massive defeat for the Trump administration. The U.S. delegation, as you're going to see, they entered the room well before the Iranians. You guys know, if you've ever played football or even watched football or basketball, the home team always comes out last. The home team waits until the other team is on the field. It's a psychological maneuver, and it basically says we are stronger than you. You have to come to us. But yet, J.D. Vance walked in first. They're saying that was a mistake. It's amazing when the other guy from, I think, Qatar or whatever, when he entered the room, he ignored J.D. Vance. You're going to see it. Yet another mistake. The Iranian foreign minister, he got to walk in last, and he refused to shake hands with J.D. So when you put all this together and you start thinking about the optics, that is what they knew would happen. They knew that people would take this and run with it as a loss. I want you to hear earlier this morning when J.D. Vance, and you're going to see the look on some people's faces when this all went down. So this happened early this morning when J.D. Vance got to the venue.
Vice President J.D. Vance and my very dear brother, Prime Minister of Qatar and Field Marshal Saeed Asmani. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great day. A day which is going to promote peace and prosperity, not in the region where crisis really...
Wait. It's going to promote, what did he say? Not just peace and prosperity. You see, this meeting that they're at with J.D. Vance, nobody's talking about that second part. We're here to promote peace and prosperity. So you got the rest of the people in this country who understand what this means monetarily. Besides all the fighting and bombs and everything else, here's a way for us to do what? Make some money. Who doesn't want to make some money? Even with you people with your turbans and everything else that are screaming, death to America, you got to be able to pay for things. You got to be able to feed your country. Now, we weren't there for photographs. We don't need autographs. We need to look confident and understand that we're not desperate. But the images that came out of this meeting made it easy for the rest of the world to draw its own conclusions.
Humongous challenges, but this will have global peace. And I must, at this point in time, with the fullest sincerity of my domain, thank President Donald Trump for his visionary and very dynamic leadership, which has resulted in this meeting here today, beautiful city of Birkenstock. And I think here we are going to have wonderful discussions which will lead to hopefully very productive results in times to come. I'd like to thank Vice President Jerry Vance for his very able leadership in leading the United States team, and my very dear brother, Prime Minister of Qatar, is like a very dear and dear brother. And of course, Field Marshal Saeed Asim Munir, his outstanding role, very consistent, and he showed huge amount of perseverance and patience. And I think together, all these efforts have culminated here in this wonderful Johannesburg, and it's really very wonderful to be here. And hopefully when we go back to our homes, we'll have some wonderful paper in our hand which will both promote peace, progress, and prosperity around the world.
Just a few words here.
All right, so they got there early this morning. I don't even know what time it was in Switzerland. And this is the initiation of the meeting. And the guy there says a couple times, prosperity, peace and prosperity. There is a twofold mission for these meetings, not just to have peace, but hey, listen, how can we have prosperity? Nobody in the media is covering it. And then from here on out, people believed it started going south. That's why the trolls are saying what they're saying. That's why the media, that's why X is saying what they're saying. But I will show you in a little bit how to know these people are all full of crap.
And first of all, I have some notes of appreciation. First of all, I want to thank the President of the United States, who sends his best to all the great leaders assembled here, because he's empowered us to find a diplomatic resolution to a host of issues that matter to the American people, but I think the world. The opening of the Strait of Hormuz, the ending of the Iranian nuclear program, all of these things have already been accomplished. The question before us now is how much more can we accomplish together? Can we turn over a new leaf? Can we change relations in the Middle East permanently? Or do we go back to doing things the old way, which is not our preference, but is certainly very much something that can happen. I have a few other notes of appreciation. First of all, to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, a dear friend of the President's, a dear friend of mine, a guy who has been, with his leadership and his very careful and skilled negotiation, has got us to this point. To his Field Marshal in Pakistan, Asim Munir, I will say that since Field Marshal Munir welcomed us with the Prime Minister in Islamabad, I have joked that I have two very, very important people in my life, an Indian and a Pakistani. The Indian is my wife, and the Pakistani is Field Marshal Munir. And I've probably talked to Field Marshal Munir more than I've talked to anybody else over the last 3 months. Would not be here without his statesmanship. He is, of course, a great military leader, but I think he's shown himself to be a great diplomat. And, of course, who's an amazing friend of the United States of America, but is also an important part of getting us to this point. I think it's important for the American people, but people all over the world to appreciate that what's brought us to this moment is the President's leadership and the President's willingness to see a Middle East that is much different 10 years from now than it was 10 years ago. And what we're trying to accomplish here is very simple. Through diplomacy, through working together to transform the Middle East, where Iran and the Gulf have been at war with each other, or at least have had very unfriendly relations, Iran has been a driver of regional instability. Now we see a future where everybody can work together to promote peace and prosperity for everyone.
I don't mean to keep harping on that, but that is extremely important because it's something I haven't seen anybody talk about all day. And I've been watching, and when I was watching a movie with Robin, and I'm searching online, and I'm like, is anybody following up? Is anybody talking about prosperity? You know, one of the reasons why I run this channel the way I do is because I believe prosperity is the key for everybody. I believe if everybody can taste in the fruits, then it becomes so much better for the rest of the country, even the poor people. If you are making money, if you are prosperous and you decide to buy things, then the people who work at retail are going to be needed. Their jobs are secure. They're being paid. If you go out to a restaurant today on Father's Day and you were able to afford a meal with your entire family, those people serving you, the people you don't see, the people in the back washing dishes, they're not the ones making big money, but they're there because you're there. And trying to talk to people about prosperity is very hard. It is very offensive to some people. They feel like they don't deserve it, that it's not something they should strive for. But I'm like, why not? If we all want to get A's on the test. We always want to win. We always want to do better. Prosperity is the reward. It's the points that you score. Doesn't mean you love of money. I'm saying this is why we have this thing called capitalism. And if you're not for capitalism, then you probably shouldn't be in this country. And so now you've got the vice president of the United States, along with the people from Pakistan, talking to these knuckleheads over there and trying to beat it in their heads like this is a twofold mission. It is prosperity and peace. See, one without the other over there doesn't really make any sense. Let that sink in. If they have peace but no way to prosper, then they're going to fight again because there's nothing at stake. And that's why the Middle East, you know, you've got Qatar, whatever, UAE, Saudi Arabia, extremely rich. Iran could be the exact same type of country, except that they're bat poop crazy. So you've got to convince them that it's in their best interest and their people's best interest to cool their jets and enjoy prosperity. Look what's going on right now. Another model, a petri dish. Look at what's going on in Venezuela. They're like, whoa, this is working. Think about what will happen in Cuba. And as of tonight, let me just show you this too as well. I saw that, here. Just in, massive political earthquake for Colombia. Trump endorsed right-wing candidate Abelardo El Tigre de la Espriella, excuse my pronunciations, is projected to defeat the communist candidate Ivan Cepeda. So what you're seeing is, in countries where you have an opportunity, people like capitalism. And so we've got these pockets around the world that just don't understand that.
We've already seen it back home in the United States is lower gas prices. We've seen the free flow of oil and gas. We've seen peace. And now we're trying to build on that to see if we can build something even better and more sustainable for the future. This is a historic meeting. Never before, outside of Islamabad and here, so outside of the last few months, never before has the Iranian and American leadership met at such a high level. What the president has asked us to do is turn over a new leaf, to transform our relationship with the people of Iran and to extend an outstretched hand that says to the people of Iran that if your leadership is willing to give up being a driver of regional instability, if they are willing to give up nuclear weapons ambitions for the long term, then the United States is willing to fundamentally transform our relationship with that country. That is
all right. So just what I said, you guys pump your brakes, be good, soldiers here in the rest of the world. Don't try to blow everybody up. Don't call everybody an infidel, which is going to be hard because it's based in their entire culture. You're going to have to change these people from the inside out. Say, come on, man, go to your mosque, be cool with that, and stop thinking everybody else is whacked. And if you do that, you'll be able to share in the world's economy.
Certainly our goal. We've already made great progress over just the last few hours, and I expect that we'll make additional progress in the hours to come. You all.
Well, first of all, I would like to welcome you here, Mr. Vice President, Mr. Prime Minister, your leadership and Field Marshal leadership actually initiating that process. That's what brought us here today. I think that every one of you has highlighted how important is this meeting, how historic is that event, and how significant is that agreement, not only on the security of the region, but also for the security of the world and for the global economy. What we have done and what we have achieved, we wouldn't achieve it without the dedication and the hard work that was done by you, Mr. Vice President, and Mr. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, Prime Minister and Field Marshal, and also on the Iranian side, Dr. Ghalibaf and Dr. Arakji. I would like to thank all of you for your leadership and determination that put us in this room, and this is not really the main celebration. Our celebration when we reach the ultimate agreement. Hopefully this is just the beginning, and I wish everyone all the best. Qatar will stay dedicated to this partnership to support these mediations until the end, until we reach a solution. We will always be a partner in bringing more peace, prosperity, and hopefully better future for our.
You getting it now? Hey, you start to say, well, that's not Barry saying it. Every single guy has said it. Some people have said it multiple times. The key here, which everyone's freaking out because they think the United States is giving Iran $300 billion, which is not true whatsoever. But it is true that they're going to open up their doors, if they get things correctly, for some other investment that could, that's part of the prosperity. I really feel like the deep state has their hands in this. I really feel as though they are trying to muck up the waters because they know exactly what happens if this thing comes off.
Region, thank you very much.
Thanks, Sheikh. So, guys, we'll take just a couple of questions, and then we're going to have to kick out the media and get started with the hard work. Go ahead.
Vice President, thank you. Do you have a message for Prime Minister Netanyahu with regards to Israel's military operations in Lebanon?
Well, first of all, we've seen great progress over the last just couple of days in ensuring that the ceasefire holds in Lebanon. These things are always a little bit messy. If you go back to how much was happening 3 months ago and compare it to 3 weeks ago, great progress has been made. If you go back to 3 weeks ago to 3 days ago, additional progress has been made. The president has committed us to see a full regional ceasefire. We found great partners in working with the Qataris, the Pakistanis, our friends in Israel. We're all working towards regional peace. There, of course, are going to be sometimes disagreements about precisely how to get there, but I actually feel great about where we are in Lebanon. There's still some additional wood to chop, but we're going to keep on working at it. I know you had a question over here.
Are you ready to stop genocide in Lebanon? As you know, your alignment, Israel has something like genocide in Lebanon. The main issue is stopping this.
Well, ma'am, I think that the President of the United States and the United States of America have done more to stop the conflict in Lebanon than any government anywhere in the world over the last few months, and we're going to keep on working towards it. As I think a lot of you appreciate, peace is never easy. Peace always requires a little bit of work. It always requires a little bit of give and take. But the President of the United States is committed not just to peace between the United States and Iran. The President is committed to a regional peace, which is why we're here working so hard to settle our issues. The one last comment I want to make is what today really represents is the beginning of a technical negotiation that's not going to solve every disagreement, but is going to allow us to sit together as teams for the first time really in history to figure out what matters most to the respective parties, to settle those issues, to solve those issues, and get to a better tomorrow. The reason why the political leadership of the respective countries is here is because we wanted to, first of all, set up the structure for these technical negotiations, and second of all, make sure that our teams have our full support and know they can always call on us to break through any barriers. We got a lot of work to do. We're excited to do it. Thank you all for being here.
Okay, so that was before the meetings began. And, I see a lot of, not a lot, but I see trolls when they came in, and I saw people on X. And one of the questions I had for some of these people, if you could ever get them to put a thought together, is what do you want? Do you want these negotiations to fall apart? Do you want to have a war with Iran? Do you want complete instability in the Middle East? Is that what you want? Because it doesn't say, I don't understand what you're looking for. The whole idea, I would think, no matter if you're on the left or if you're on the right, that you should want peace, that you shouldn't want people blowing up people, doing terrorism and all kinds of crazy things. You're telling me here in 2026, we don't even have that commonality? You can't say, I hate Trump, but I hope this works. It's easy to point at he and JD and say they don't know what they're doing. It sucks. They should be doing this. They should be doing that. But after you say all that, it should be, well, I hope they get it done. And that's one of the problems I'm seeing on the left right now is I don't think they want peace. Forget a success for Trump. They don't want a success for America. The negotiations here have been going on all day. Robust discussions on all elements of the nuclear deal, and they're still going on. But unfortunately, you're going to have to learn how to discern, because there's a lot of people throwing shade out there, and there are a lot of people trying to get you off your game and to hate Trump, and in turn hate America. They're trying to get you to believe this is all you have to look forward to. Just another 2 years of failure. You can't even make a pond not be green. Forget the part that we're, sabotaging it, but nonetheless, it's green. He can't do anything right. But do you at least want it right? Would you want the pond to be blue? We're seeing some people out there saying, no, we love algae. Do you at least want Iran not to be bombing people and having terrorism? Do you at least want to have a safe Middle East and no threats here in America? Can we even agree there? If we can't, I already feel we're never coming back because I already know the answer to that question. They want America destroyed. And so you have to just figure out, who are you supposed to believe? And there's only one answer. And that one answer is President Trump. Until he speaks about this, ignore all of the BS. The drive-by media wants you confused. More than confused. They want you turned. They want you doubting. They want you thinking America blinked and got beat. They want you believing we started something we couldn't finish. But I know for a fact this is classic media trickery. Let me show you what happened after this speech, which everybody on the left, some of the rhinos, and most of X were salivating over. This is pretty interesting. By the way, this is their bravado speech that you saw a piece of earlier.
We will not give up our right to enrichment, and they too will be forced to accept it. You all know what the so-called President of the United States was saying. He has made a complete 180-degree turn. He was saying that Iran must surrender unconditionally. Iran has no right to do this. It has no right to do that. Then he gave a speech and said that Iran has the right to do this. It has the right to possess this. In other words, he has reversed himself by 180 degrees compared to his previous positions and has accepted that they cannot ignore our rights.
All right, watch this. The guy talking to the guy from Pakistan is the leader of the Iran delegation, the same guy you just saw giving the big bravado speech, the guy who's talking like he's got big nutsies. And wait, it's a so-called president, all this stuff. And so watch what happens here. So the Pakistan guy is like, I don't know what this guy's doing. They're talking about leaving. They're walking out, man. And JD just finds out. JD finds out that the Iranians just walked out of the meeting. And as you're looking at it, that is exactly how it appears to the naked eye. That all of a sudden, they decide they're walking out. And JD is sitting there holding this thing in his hands, and he looks so ineffective and so weak. I was hoping there was a hot mic here, because who knows what's going on in this huddle. The Pakistan guy in a tan suit, he's looking all kinds of freaked out. What the hell's going on? How did this just blow up early this morning? I'm talking about like probably by 8 o'clock this morning. This happened right at the outset, after they did their introductions, after they came in and said, you know, we're going to have this stuff, we're going to talk. The Iranians started coming in and acting badass.
How are the talks going so far, Mr. Vice President?
Great, thank you.
All right, so now, after JD gave that smirk, this is outside the room where we see the Iranian delegation leaving. But did it actually happen? See, that's what everybody ran with, that they left. There were actually people in my feed telling me JD Vance left Switzerland. It was on his way home. Let me see if I can find it. It was I couldn't believe it. I posted this, and I said, somebody is playing games, some serious games, because Trey Yanks from Fox, after all this happened, he came out and said, the Iranians remain in Switzerland and talks continue at this hour. A U.S. diplomat told Fox News negotiations have been going on in earnest all day. Robust discussions on all elements of the nuclear deal are ongoing. And you can see the time, that was at 4:22. So when they walked out early this morning, Trey Yanks posted, hey, they're still talking. But the media wouldn't stand for it, and they started poisoning the waters. And then somebody posted this to me in a comment. Let me see if I can bring it up for you so you guys can see it yourself. Duck Girl said Vance is already on his way home. Where the hell are people getting this information from? So I'm going to show you something so you can begin looking at things yourself and don't take what you hear other people say. There's a White House pool that travels with the president and travels with the vice president. And that pool reports the actual things that are happening. It must be tough for them because they don't interject their opinion too much. They have to tell you exactly what's going on. So I urge everybody, and I do mean everybody, to go ahead and follow White House press pool reports. And this is the real-time email circulated to the White House reporters to track POTUS's daily schedule, travel, and statements. So you will always have, as soon as it happens, it gets posted here. All right, so down here, we find out at, what time was this? Let me pull it up here. This was pulled at 4:25. The White House called a lid. You guys remember what a lid is? A lid is we're having no more communications with the press. So the White House, where President Trump is, we're done for the evening at 4:25 p.m. However, this is where it starts getting interesting, okay? So I want you to go here. The very next post that they put up was this one. This is where it all falls apart for the naysayers. at 5:25 p.m., as you can see, it says your pool has been holding for more than 8 hours here at Bergenstock. It's the resort where everybody is meeting, without any updates about the status of the talks. We continue to push for information and we'll keep everyone updated. So at 5:25, they're sitting there going, we don't know. We're just sitting here. We're in the resort. Everybody's still here. We don't know what's going on. Obviously, the J.D. Vance hadn't left yet. This is 8 hours later. This is probably 6 hours after people in the media are blah, blah, blah. They're getting their ass whooped and they got to leave. They all lied. So then, let me go to the next one they posted, which was this one here. Sorry, narrative explodes. This was posted at 6:24 p.m., just before I went on. Switzerland, Iranian delegation is still here. The Iranian delegation is still at the negotiating venue, and the U.S. delegation expects to continue working when? Through the whole friggin' night. According to a senior U.S. diplomat engaged in negotiations who said discussions remain ongoing. The diplomat said discussions have included clarifying some of the confusing messaging from Iran on the strait and building deconfliction mechanisms to ensure the strait will remain fully open. We have also worked through deconfliction mechanisms and enforcing the ceasefire in southern Lebanon. The diplomat said there has been robust discussions on all elements of the nuclear deal and that they plan to use today's work, quote, as a starting point for ongoing technical talks going forward. That was at 6:17 p.m. and then it was posted at 6:24. So what the hell are people talking about? Oh, Iran left and J.D. Vance is on his way home. They got nothing. And the reporter's sitting there like, well, hey, man, we've been sitting here all damn day. These people are still here. They're lying to you. I don't know why people do the things they do, especially the media. I don't understand what's in it for them to continue to lie, but that's what they're doing. Let me think here. Okay, they just posted 1 minute ago. Oh, it's a long one, people. Switzerland, lid and full text. So at 1:14 a.m. So they worked all through the night to 1:14. This was posted, as you can see, 7:36 p.m. So it literally just got posted. So this is the most breaking news right now about what's going on in Iran. We were given a lid at 1:14 local. The vice president office provided the following statement attributable to a U.S. official. Negotiations are still ongoing, and we still anticipate they will continue through the night. Some have asked for the full text of the statement that was previously provided to the pool by the VP's office on background attributable to a senior U.S. diplomat engaged in the negotiations. Here is the full text. The vice president touched down around 6 a.m. this morning, and our delegation has been engaged in constant meetings and negotiations since then. Contrary to rampant false reporting, the Iranians are still here and the discussions are ongoing. You're reading it right now, right off the press. We anticipate continuing work through the night. Topics of discussion have included clarifying some of the confusing messaging from Iran on the strait, and again, building deconfliction mechanisms to ensure the strait will remain fully open. We have also worked through deconfliction mechanisms and enforcing the ceasefire in southern Lebanon. We've had robust discussions on all elements of the deal. We plan to continue working through each of these issues and using today's work as a starting point. Your pool has not been given any additional information about the talks today or what the VP's plan is for tomorrow. We'll provide updates as we get them. I can only bring you what appears to be truth. I don't like to get into conjecture. I don't like to, make innuendos. And I definitely aren't going to say something like J.D. Vance went home and the Iranians went home when they're still sitting their butts in Switzerland trying to get something done. There are so many people out there who are trying to make a living, trying to make money by lying to you. They show you pictures of Americans waiting. They spin the body language. They ignore the bigger picture. They forget who is actually in charge. And that's President Trump. President Trump isn't here to lose a war. He's here to end them on his terms when he decides. The regime in Iran is playing games. They always play games. He knows they play games. You know they play games. They think they can outlast us. They think we don't have the stomach for it. They think the media and the Democrats will do everything to make Trump look terrible and make them look good. They think our people will get tired of high gas prices. They think our politicians will fold. But they have never dealt with Donald Trump, especially when he's fully engaged. They have never seen any president with this kind of killer instinct. Truly a killer instinct. Because when the cameras are off and the decisions need to be made, the visuals in Switzerland look bad on purpose. The Iranians staged it, the media complied. They want the world to see America waiting and struggling. They want the pictures of no handshake. For all we know, they could have walked into the room and then said, okay, let's turn around, look like we're walking out, and took a photo. I don't know, but it's not representative of what's really going on. And you probably didn't know that. They want the pictures of the no handshake. They want the narrative that we are desperate for a deal. They want the narrative that makes them look like they're in control. The big picture lies to you. The media lies to you. Optics are being manipulated. The truth is what's happening behind closed doors at 1:15 in the morning over in Switzerland that nobody knows what the hell's going on. And the truth, when it happens, will come from one man. And you know the one man, President Trump. Until he speaks, turn off the noise, turn off the cable news, get off of Twitter, enjoy Father's Day, whatever you're going to do tomorrow. Turn off the so-called diplomacy analysts who have never won anything. President Trump knows exactly what he's doing. He always has. He knows what his drop-dead line is. He did this to protect America. He's going to finish it the same way. The media is doing what they always do. They are gaslighting you. They're trying to make you feel weak. They're trying to make you doubt our country. They're trying to make you believe the bad guys have the upper hand. But America is not going to lose. And it's definitely not going to lose to these mullahs in Iran. Not on Donald Trump's watch. The bunker busters, that was just the beginning. The real power is economic. The real power is the will of the American people standing behind the president, understanding if it takes a little bit longer, yeah, you might end up paying $5 in gas. Woohoo, cry your ass off. The stakes are much bigger. Iran thinks we're going to blink. They already know the press is blinking. They already know the Democrats are blinking. And so they're pounding it right now. Hey, we're going to pay $4 and this is more expensive and that's more expensive. They are trying to break you. And as I see with the trolls and even on responses on my ex, in some instances, they win. Because you're looking at the wrong information. Americans, as you know, depending if you're my age, you know, we've endured far worse. Far worse than $4 or $5 in gas. Way, way worse. And we will endure this as well because we have a president who puts America first and will continue to do so. So here's the bottom line. As you see this stuff, did America lose the war in Iran today? Not just no. Hell no. Is the media up to their nefarious gaslighting and propaganda and subterfuge? Yes. Hell yes. The visuals from Switzerland are theater. They orchestrated it perfectly today. The spin from the media is theater. The only thing that matters is what President Trump decides to do next. J.D. Vance is probably on the phone with him, with Jared and Steve Witkoff. Witkoff. Until he speaks, you're going to have to just trust him or not. But I'm thinking if you're looking around, I think he's got a little bit more credibility than some person writing for the New York Times. I think he's got just a wee bit more credibility than some Yahoo on CNN. This isn't over, not by a long shot. And when Trump finally speaks or posts, the world will remember exactly who has the killer instinct. And folks, the way I'm seeing it, he already knows what his options are. He already knows what he's going to do. You just have to either wait or look and find the information you need. And like I said, this White House press pool reports always has the most up here. Not the same one. 9 minutes ago, but they had another one. But you can see it. There it is. 9 minutes ago, I just read it to you. Get real information, and you'll be a lot more comfortable than the crap that other people are spewing. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. But it works. One thing we can say for sure is propaganda works on people who allow it to work on them. Don't be like them. Don't be like them at all. Hope that made you feel good. No, Barry wasn't giving up on Trump. I was trying to bring you in so you understood you're being lied to. And as an adult, that kind of should make you pissed off. You're like, damn. Before I get to SV, I got 2 things President Trump posted in regards to that. Actually, 3 things. He posted, work will begin immediately on fixing the seriously vandalized reflecting pool, which all of a sudden everybody in the media is an algae expert. I just inspected it and could only say to myself and those gathered around me, wow, who would do such a thing? Sick, deranged people. We will fix it. Yeah, there's a lot of sick people out there. Team Algae, they're out there. And then he posted this about the New York Times, which is a lot of what we're seeing right now. The headline in the corrupt and failing New York Times: what changed after 4 months of war? Analysts say not much. Really? Their military is done. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their launching pads, missiles, drones, and manufacturing is almost gone. Their top 2 sets of leaders gone. Their inflation is at 250%. Their economy is broken. Their soldiers aren't being paid. Their Hormuz Strait is open. The oil is gushing. And the United States stock market and job are at record highs. That's what changed. You corrupt and unethical cowards and more. And that was at 4:57. I think he's ticked off. Yeah, he's trying to let you know. Stop reading this crap. And then he followed that up with this one at 6:28, just before we went on. The way the corrupt and failing New York Times is covering stories on a very battered and beat up Iran through fake and made up facts is, in my opinion, treasonous. I will be adding all of the false and ridiculous reporting to my multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against them. They are criminals. Yeah, it's definitely criminal activity because they're swaying so many Americans. It's disgusting. So when people come and they troll here, I'm like, hey, man, he said it. He's pointed out. Do you not believe? Do you not want it to be true? Do you not want America to be a winning country? Just simply ask people that. So you'd rather us lose. Is that what it is? Okay, great. Eat me. SV, what are you doing, man? You got anything else?
Hey, happy Father's Day, Barry. Happy Father's Day, fanfare patriots.
To you
Man,
as well.
Yeah, thank you. I'll tell you what, though, man, the propaganda might be working, but those leftist prostitutes at the New York Failing Times and other places are going to need some new GoFundMe soon because being part of that $1 billion lawsuit. Yikes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I was going off camera because I felt a little ill from the story. I was watching Governor Abigail Spanberger bust a move at a Juneteenth event. She's out there going. I don't even want to give that to you because.
Yeah, I saw her. I saw her dancing too. And I mean,
oh my God,
they're all. It seems like they're all copying Kamala as well too. Like, it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Horrible. I did post 3 stories up from the bottom. I sent you the Tim Burchett. It's a story I could talk about. I thought it was a pretty good quote from him.
Yeah, I was watching that just before I came on. Yeah.
Can I talk about it, or are you going to cover it?
No, I don't have it. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So Tim Burchett earlier said said this perfectly after Chuck Schumer, the cheeseburger guy. claims millions of people will be disqualified from voting under the Save America Act. What he said, it's going to cost millions of people the right to vote. No, well, those millions of people happen to be the illegals and the dead people. So those are the two categories they're blocking. So we definitely need the Save America Act. It's crucial to block the Dems from cheating because that's all their voters, you know, the Walking Dead, or the mail-in ballots, as we have seen in California. It's getting pretty gnarly. Yeah.
You know, one of the things that bothers me with all of that is, one, they're no longer pretending. And number two, just like what I said, people want us to lose. They don't care. Most of the people on the left don't care what you need to do, just win. I mean, they don't care if you, you know, nominate a Nazi up in Maine. Doesn't matter. I don't care if he did bad things to his mom. Just win so we can have that vote. That's all they care about at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy too, because back when Biden allegedly won, you know, the auto pen. I love that meme, by the way. You saw that, the one with the pens writing all over his face,
right, all over his face and stuff.
Yeah,
like
remember the old
fraternity house.
Yeah, they were all telling us, you know, hey, there was no fraud. You got to trust the system. It's all legit. Oh my gosh, you know,
completely.
Don't pee at me and tell me it's raining. I did send you a story from OSIT Defender. That was like 9 minutes ago. Yeah. So, you know, Trump is still, you know, when people think we've abandoned ship, well, this just happened. So they just saying that there's a bunch of 6 of the KC-135 Stratotankers. Those are those huge, I guess, planes that refill the aircraft, and 1 U.S. Navy P-8. A Poseidon maritime intelligence surveillance. It's doing all the reconnaissance stuff. So we're still looking into I'm sure windows that we could see through windows and the doors. Like, he's still there. He's checking everything out, along with using Elon's Starlink, of course.
Yeah, there's no, you know, the only way this works is if people know he's still prepared to go forward. If all of a sudden everybody left and Iran would go right back to what they're doing, but they know that any minute he's coming right back.
And they're still taking the oil out. I mean, he's admitted it himself. He says we're taking out, you know, tankers and tankers of oil. I think here we're down almost $1 from about a couple of weeks ago, so it has had some relief. I did check. Well, I was going to say real quick that the crude oil prices were up about 1% to 2% today, so I'm sure it's going to be a little bump up tomorrow because of the uncertainty that's going on currently in the Middle East. So
yeah, let me see if I can show you that. So right there, these are futures. This is what people expect the market to open at tomorrow. And at this point, it's the Dow is looking into it, everything, and then oil on the far right is moving up. So we shall see what happens when it actually opens up, which, you know, isn't a bad thing, because remember, they closed the markets because of Juneteenth. And so that Friday, all those, it'll get crazy. It'll settle back down on Tuesday. I saw one guy predicting, oil's going to go to 150. And I thought to myself, so what? So what's the rest of that? If oil goes to 150, what happens beyond that? And of course, the answer is gas prices will go up. So what are you saying? That's what I always want. So what are you saying? Are you saying we should just turn tail and come home and just let them have their way? No, of course not.
Never any answers. A guy I played pickleball with, he's a hardcore crazy person. He goes, it's going to be $200 a gallon. I just walked away. I said, you're too retarded.
If it is, it is. I mean, that's a question I would like to have with people. So if it went to 200 a barrel, what do you want to see happen? And it's funny because a couple of people I've asked, there's no answer. Yeah,
they never have any solutions. There's never a solution.
Yeah, the gas goes.
They're great at complaining, Barry. I mean, complaining takes no effort, right? Whining, complaining, zero effort. Finding a solution takes an effort. That's why Trump works almost 24/7, right?
All right, so let me.
Anyway, that's all I have. So if you want to cut to your commercial, that'll be great.
All righty, thank you, sir. See you in a minute.
All right.
One of today's sponsors is LTV Hydration. You know, if you're like me, a little bit older, you're getting to that age where you're tired all the time, Sometimes you're bloated after a meal and no amount of water seems to help. Then listen up here. A few weeks ago, after, I had an issue with water retention. I called this guy, my friend of mine, Dr. Josh, a practicing doctor with over 25 years of experience. His answer shocked me. It shocked Robin. He said I was showing all the classic signs of a dehydrated liver. Not the kind of that more water fix. Your liver is your body's main hydration organ. If your liver cells aren't hydrated at the cellular level, the water you drink just runs right through you, which means you pee all night long. And that's sometimes why you can feel drained during the day, you can feel bloated, and you feel older than you should. You're real sluggish. Yeah, regular electrolyte drinks don't help this. They don't solve it. That's why Dr. Josh created LTV, a daily hydration drink designed for real cellular hydration and liver support. It combines clinical dose marine electrolytes and taurine to help your body and your cells hold water, plus milk thistle and dandelion root to support your liver's natural detox. I've been drinking it every morning, and the results have been incredible. In fact, sometimes I take two. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but it just really helps. No more bloating, no more afternoon crashes. You see me. Sometimes I do 2 shows. I finally feel properly hydrated, lighter, alert, full of real energy. If you're ready to feel the difference, go to drinkltv.com/Barry right now. And Dr. Josh is running a special offer of up to 64% off, but only for the Fanfare community. And you got to do it through the link in the description below. Click the link and give your liver the hydration it's been missing. Be back.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
And I do believe that once we take power, there has to be accountability. There needs to be accountability for Elon Musk. You know, they're celebrating that he created 4,400 millionaires, but they don't talk about the 4.5 million children around the world who he possibly sentenced to death by dismantling U.S. aid.
I don't mean to be heartless. I care about humanity. I just didn't know it was my responsibility to pay for it. I didn't know it was your responsibility or America's responsibility to pay for the starving kids in, Biafra somewhere. Especially when we have kids here in America that we need to worry about. I didn't know it was our response. I didn't know when we signed up to pay taxes that they were going to do that. Hey, we're going to send gazillions of dollars every single year to people in other countries. I didn't know that was my job. You see, the Democrats talk as if all of this stuff we're supposed to know. This is what you do. You're an American. We take your money away from you and we send it across the world and you never see it again and you don't even know where it ends up. And so now they're talking about retribution. And I'm going to talk to you a little about this retribution thing that they keep describing.
Well, he needs to answer for that. He needs to be subpoenaed. He needs to face investigation. He needs to answer for what he did with Doge. That it's not just let's move on. And we will use the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary Committee to hold people accountable who violated the law on ICE and abused power with ICE, who violated the law in killing people on boats in the Caribbean.
Oh, so they're just taking names right now. Who blew up the boats? Yep, we got to find ICE. Yeah, we got to write those people down. And who took away the money from the starving Biafran African kids? We're coming after all of you. Wow, that's pretty interesting, isn't it?
Who violated the law when it came to Iran and some of the strikes, who violated the law with Doge, there will be accountability. There needs to be accountability before reconciliation. And certainly there are voices like Robert Garcia, Jamie Raskin, myself, who are for aggressive oversight and investigation, including of the Epstein class.
So you've heard the Democrats for quite some time screaming, bitching, moaning that President Trump is out here weaponizing the Department of Justice. They say he's on a retribution tour. They say he's coming after his political opponents. Well, let me ask you something. If somebody told you that they were going to come to your house, kick in your front door, and punch you in the face, would you just wait for that to happen? Now take it a step further, because now you don't have to wonder if someone's going to kick in your front door. They're already telling you. They're already saying, once we get power, God forbid they don't, once we get power, we are going to do the very same thing that we're actually accusing Trump of. They are openly telling us exactly what they're going to do. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're going to do the other thing. And they call him the danger to democracy. Meanwhile, President Trump already knows what they're going to do. Why? Because they already did it. They threw him or tried to throw him in jail. They indicted him across the country. They sued him. They tried to take his property. They tried to kill him. And he's the danger. This is the height of liberal hypocrisy. This is Saul Alinsky, which I told you about, on steroids. This is the very definition of political projection. They project onto Trump exactly what they are doing and what they're planning on doing. Shall we take a little walk through some of their own words? Listen to them. They're not hiding it. They're bragging about it on television, on podcasts, in their little safe spaces. They want revenge. They want power, and they want it permanently. So tell me, if your enemy is standing right in front of you, openly telling you, I'm going to pack the Supreme Court. I'm going to make D.C. and Puerto Rico states. I'm going to let millions of illegals vote. I'm going to let boys compete in girls' sports. Are you just going to sit there and smile politely, or are you going to try and stop them? Well, of course, I would hope our president and the existing people who are in office would do everything possible to stop them. Retribution? No, not at all. It's doing what's needed to keep you nut jobs in place. President Trump understands you stop them, you drain the swamp, you hold them accountable. That's not revenge. That's not retribution. And if you think so, I don't really care. Not when you're telling us and showing us everything you're willing to do to Americans. To me, it's like self-defense for the Republic. Let's go down the list. Point. Number one, they want to pack the court, like I told you. They want to add 4 to 5 or maybe 6 new justices until the court becomes just another rubber stamp for the Democrats and their radical agenda. They couldn't beat Trump at the ballot box, so they want to try to beat the rest of America by changing the rules. And Trump wants to stop that cold. He appoints constitutionalists, not DEI hacks like Ketanji Brown Jackson. He protects the court. That's not retribution. That's restoration. Number 2, statehood for Washington, D.C., and statehood for Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, D.C. is about to elect a communist mayor, socialist. 2 more Democrat senators, forever. 2 more Democrat electoral votes, forever. They can't win fair elections, so they want to import new voters and create new states to rig the game forever. Trump says no. Is that retribution? No. The Constitution says no. The American people say no. They've said it. Number 3, letting millions of illegals vote. They've been flooding the border for years. They give them driver's licenses. They give them IDs. They put them on voter rolls. And Chuck Schumer screams about, we're going to make 25 million people unable to vote. If they're not Americans, I don't care. And then they scream voter suppression when we ask for ID. You know, if they succeed, your vote won't matter anymore. I hope you realize that. Trump is stopping that invasion. He's deporting the criminals. He secured the border. That's not cruelty. That's not an offense to bring somebody up on charges. That's common sense. Then, of course, we know about boys and girls sports. That went out to make every parent furious. They want to force biological males to compete against your daughters. What's really weird is today's Father's Day. And every single one of you here who's a father or grandfather, that you want to protect your little ones. You want to make sure your daughters and granddaughters don't have to deal with this stuff. You don't want to deal with boys taking girls' scholarships, taking their trophies, taking their safety, taking their innocence. Democrats call all that stuff inclusion. We're all in this together. Hell no. Normal Americans call it insanity. Trump stopped it with an executive order. He protected women's sports, drove them crazy. He protected fairness. He protected little girls. And they call that retribution. No, that's defending the innocent. Number 5, sending America's money overseas. Billions, hundreds of billions to Ukraine, to endless foreign wars, real endless foreign wars, while our own veterans sleep on the damn street, while our own cities crumble and look like crap, while our own people here can't afford some groceries. Trump says America first. Oh my God, we need to have retribution for that. No more blank checks to nations that don't respect us. Number 6, taxing Americans to the hilt to pay for their insane programs. The Green New Deals, the student loan bailouts, reparations. Free everything for everybody, except the people who actually work. They want to confiscate your wealth. They want to buy votes from people who don't produce. Trump wants tax cuts. Trump wants energy dominance. Trump wants AI dominance. Trump wants you to keep your money and build your own future prosperity. And number 7, stopping the scourge of socialism. If I hear one more of these people talk, I may throw up. It's spreading. They want government control over everything, over all aspects of your life, your speech, your health care, your children's education, your bank account, your retirement, your scrolling on social media. They want equity, not equality. They want to punish success, and they want to reward failure. I mean, everything I see about these people just makes me want to go take a shower. Just listen to some of this stuff right here.
Miniature. I spent all day thinking about this, looking at these pictures.
This reflecting pool is falling apart before our eyes.
You literally heard one reporter there say this is Iran in miniature. The reflecting pool, Iran in miniature. Okay, well, President Trump responding to that last part saying, quote, Jonathan Karl was seen sticking his hand into the pool and trying to rip the rubber off the surface. The algae is 75% gone and the condition will soon be completely remedied. Well, that hasn't stopped the New York Times from doing a deep dive into the contractor who was hired to purify the pool. But I'm curious, are they worried about algae at the Taj Mahal? Are they planning on testing the water quality of the reflecting pool at the 9/11 memorial? What about the Trevi Fountain in Italy? We look forward to seeing those reports. You know, what else we're looking forward to seeing? Well, deep investigations into things that actually matter. But we should not be surprised because this is par for the course for the media.
Completely par for the course for the media. They are spending money, resources, time investigating algae. How much time do you think they spent investigating all the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard dropped about Anthony Fauci? Don't go looking, I can tell you. 0. 0 minutes allocated to that. That's why they had to go look at the algae. That's why they had to run out there and take those kind of stories, because they need you to look this way. Squirrel. They don't want you to look at real news. President Trump believes in liberty. President Trump believes in capitalism. President Trump believes in the American dream that built the greatest country on earth in the history of the world. Every single one of these things, the Democrats admit they will do again. They will keep doing it. They say it out loud. So when President Trump tells you, and when he takes office and starts cleaning house, literally cleaning, why on earth would any rational American complain?
The vandalism, that's absolutely true. Somebody did vandalize the grass. Even when workers were working on the reflecting pool, I think I read that people came and vandalized their trucks and their equipment. Look, you have people that hate Donald Trump so much that they would go out and destroy our national monuments, vandalize the Lincoln Memorial, vandalize the grass. That's how broken-brained they are. Donald Trump has cleaned up Washington. The fountains work. The city is clean. The city is safe. It's good that he has taken an interest in this. And you have these people out here who are so broken-brained about the fact that he's the president that they're spending their time vandalizing all this stuff. I think it's terrible. And I hope anybody who vandalizes our monuments, I hope they get caught and I hope they get put in jail. He's trying to make the city beautiful for America 250. There's going to be a lot of people in Washington. They deserve to go to a clean, safe capital. And that's what he's trying to do.
Amisha?
They hate us. They hate everything about us. You know, if the house is on fire, you don't just watch it burn. That's what Democrats want. Because the arsonist calls you mean for grabbing the fire hose. Oh, the team algae. You put out the fire. You arrest the arsonist. You make sure it never happens again. That is what this retribution tour really is. And I think we need to embrace it. Yes, it is a retribution tour. You have hurt us. You have damaged us. And we want retribution. We want accountability. God knows everybody's been like, hey, arrest somebody, do something earlier. We want the retribution. We voted for the retribution. We vote for the rule of law. It's saving the country from the people who fundamentally want to transform it into something unrecognizable, completely unrecognizable.
Look, the Democrat Party, Sean, as you've covered better than anybody, has become a party of Marxist, communist, socialist, violent extremists, and yes, violent revolutionaries who support the policies that are getting Americans killed en masse, historically for many years now, and of course it accelerated under the Biden administration, by criminal illegal aliens. This is a party that supports violence against ICE officers, supports violence against federal law enforcement, and engages in conduct and rhetoric and behavior that leads to repeated assassination attempts against President Trump, against President Trump's supporters.
Well, then you damn right I want retribution. I definitely want retribution for Charlie Kirk. I definitely want retribution for Butler, Pennsylvania. Absolutely. And I know some of you are what I would call polite conservatives. You might be a little bit nervous. You might think to yourself, you know, shouldn't we just be nice? Shouldn't we be turning the other cheek? No, I don't have any more cheeks to turn. I'm done. I am completely done. I don't care if these people ever come back and want to reconcile. I don't care. at this point, my mood is completely indifferent. We need to take care of the people who want to take care of America, not the ones who want to tear it down. Not the ones who want to see everything that you worked your entire life for destroyed. Don't want it. Don't need it. Sometimes, as you know from the Bible, righteous anger is exactly what is required.
Against Republican elected office holders. It is a terrifying reality, but one we cannot turn away from, ignore. We cannot put our heads in the sand and pretend the Democrat Party of the 90s or the 80s or the 70s exists anymore, because it is gone, Sean. It is gone, and it is not coming back.
So appropriate what he just said. It's a wake-up call. These aren't your 1970s, 1980s Democrats. It's gone. They have been weaponizing every institution for years. The FBI, yup. The CIA, the IRS, the Justice Department, big tech, the media. They tried to jail Trump before the election. They tried to bankrupt him. They tried to do everything. They tried to take him off the ballot in certain states. And when that failed, they cried, he's a threat to democracy, while they were being threats to democracy. And so now they're worried about retribution? Well, you should be. Not just from President Trump, but from all of us. You should vote with righteous anger. You should let them know, I am pulling this ballot. I am doing everything I can to put you people back under the rock from which you came. The real threat to democracy is two-tier justice. One set of rules for them and another set for you and me. Trump seems to be ending this two-tier system, and that's why they're terrified. That's why they won't report on Anthony Fauci. That's why they're screaming about retribution. And their screaming at this point has reached new levels of hysteria. But we, the people, voted for this. We voted to stop their madness. You can't let up right now. It's sort of like you're fighting your own Iranian war. You can't take it and say, well, you know, maybe we shouldn't push this far. No, we voted for the borders to be closed. We voted for sanity. We voted for America first. You can't stop now. Now it gets important. Now it gets hard. Now it's your time to deliver.
We talk about democratic socialists. How are they viewed inside the Democratic Party?
Yeah, you know, you mentioned New York, you mentioned Vermont. Obviously, there's the D.C. mayor. We've seen it in Pennsylvania as well. The Democratic Socialists seem to be doing considerably better than they used to be, and they have the chance to knock off, in fact, Democratic incumbents in Congress. And part of the reason for that, why we're seeing these Democratic Socialists having such good chances or outright winning nominations, is take a look here. Net favorability among Dems. Democratic Socialists of America, look at that, a plus 17-point net favorability rating among Democrats. That is actually better. That is better than how congressional Democrats are viewed by Democrats at just plus 4 points.
That's what's called a wake-up call. That's what's called a warning. To every one of you like me boomers watching, to every patriot who still loves her country or his country, that should scare the hell out of you. You and I were raised to be a certain way. We stood strong. We saluted the flag. We supported the president, regardless of who it was. We supported the rule of law. We supported the Constitution because we knew that was America. Whether it was good or bad, if we didn't like it, we understood, you know what, this is America. We'll do it again in 2 or 4 years, and we'll see if we can't win. Now you see a threat. You see a rising, scummy threat coming up. And now you really got to put on your boots and put on your armor and get ready, because this is our moment. This is our country. And yes, these people want to take it from us. So do we need to have a retribution tour? You're damn right. A retribution tour is exactly what the doctor ordered. Not out of hate, but out of love for the greatest nation God ever gave man. These people, these same socialists, are looking at you like prey. They can't wait to take everything you have and give it to somebody else. They can't wait to change the zoning regulations wherever you live and put a tenement up. Everything you hold dear, they are going to attack. They are letting you know. So get used to retribution.
So no wonder that Democratic Socialists have such a good chance, because simply put, they are a better brand at this point than Democrats in Congress.
Among Democrats, it's interesting to see who they like more. All right, and you've used this number before. I always find this fascinating. When you compare socialism to capitalism, how are they doing right now?
Yeah, how are they doing right now among Democrats? You see this Democratic Socialist America more positive than congressional Democrats. And I'll tell you, take a look at the trend line, the favorable rating among Democrats on socialism and look at this. In 2010, they were about equal. 50% had a favorable view of socialism. 51% said the same about capitalism. But capitalism has absolutely fallen through the floor. Look at this.
I don't like polls, but I look at polls as like something, a barometer. I don't take the exact data, but there's enough data here, and the source is Gallup. There's enough data here where y'all got to be worried. I mean, you seriously need to do whatever you need to do and get on this retribution tour. We need to get rid of these people. You're telling me 66% of Democrats now favor socialism over capitalism. How can that be? Well, I'll tell you, our schools failed us. Our colleges failed us. Social media failed kids. They keep saying stuff like the boomers took all the money and there's nothing left here. They have no incentive. And so their retribution is to take it. And I'm talking about money right now because that's what they hate. They hate the fact that you have what they don't. And for some reason, they've given up any hope of ever getting it, which I don't understand. Like you guys know, my daughter and the grandkids were here this weekend. And I looked in the face of two young girls and I could see in their eyes, they understood what they were seeing, what they were getting this past weekend. And I always know when I've done a job well done. When people say, I don't want to go home, or I want to come back. Can we do this again in spring break? And can we do it? I want them wanting. They got to experience things that they now see. This is how life should be. And you got these idiots in the Democrat Party saying, no, we need to take everything. We don't want you doing this. We don't want you doing that.
It's now just 42% of Democrats who have a favorable view of capitalism. Socialism, on the other hand, up like a rocket. Look at this. 2 in 3 Democrats have a favorable view of socialism. So socialism is on the rise among Democrats. Capitalism is on the decline among Democrats. And again, this is part of the longer-term trend in which we are seeing Democratic Socialists doing considerably better among Democrats, electing a mayor right here in New York City, for example.
And as we said, there are primaries next week with Democratic Socialists, self-proclaimed, on the ballot. What are the prediction markets saying about how they may do?
Yeah, this to me is one of the more stunning trends, right, that I have seen in covering politics over the last 15, 16 years. And if you believe the prediction markets, it's not going to just stop suddenly. It may extend into next week, because just take a look at the chance that Democratic Socialists win in Dem primaries, House primaries here in New York.
New York has fallen. New York has fallen. That one of the biggest cities in the world, one of the biggest, if not the biggest city in America, has fallen. They got Mandami. They're about to have a bunch of other Congress people in New York, and these people are evil. They are misguided. They are coming for you, and they're trying to do it in as many states as possible. And the retribution that you need to bring to these people is to work hard and get out there and stomp this stuff out. You have to. The very livelihoods that you try to protect are at risk. So retribution is the only way.
Go to New York 7th District, right? You got a Brooklyn Borough president who at this point looks like an underdog compared to a Democratic Socialist. And then you may get a Democratic incumbent in Northern Manhattan get knocked off. That's closer to a 50-50 race. But the bottom line is this. Next week in New York may be a very good one for Democratic Socialist Mayor Mamdani, endorsing them. His political star is rising, and he may bring a few Democratic Socialists along with him and put them in a Congress.
It's like a fungus. It's like a bad viral fungus. So should we be going on a retribution tour? Yeah, damn right. At this point, we need retribution. We need to be on offense, not defense. We can't be polite conservatives because they're not being polite socialists. They're telling you straight up. See, one of the things that makes it problematic is many people, even people here in our audience, don't listen to what these people are saying. They don't put any credence into what oh, that's New York. I live in Alabama. That's New York. Oh, I live in Idaho. But when you watch a virus grow and how it continues to fester, by the time it hits Idaho, by the time it hits Alabama, if you haven't vanquished it, you're going to be in trouble. It will be too late. So you need to be listening to these people because it's not going to stop. They're not taking Manhattan like the Muppets and going to stop there. Oh no, this is going to breed, and it's going to continue to breed. You see what's happening in Maine right now, don't you? As much as many of us can't stand Susan Collins, she's about to get beat by a Nazi woman abuser, and they don't care because it's socialism. It's all it takes is for people who have nothing to be promised your stuff, your way of life. Driving through your neighborhood going, I want that house. Okay, here's what we need to do. We need to elect socialists so we can, cut the land up and, build you something right next to them, even though they worked for the last 30 years for their property. Oh, you boomers are trying to take everything. Not me. I'm trying to show my grandkids, this is what you can do. This is how you do it. Start planning now. But that's not working for most of America. That's no longer what these kids want. They want us to die and take our stuff. They want these socialists to enact all. I'm going to show you something. I got a libtard zone for you, and you're going to sit there and go, you got to be kidding me. Oh, they want it all. And they're going to take it, and they're going to change the rules and do whatever they need to do. So if you don't get on the retribution tour, you're going to fall victim to theirs. Understand that. Oh, SB, what you got? Anything new going? Oh, SB's not here. I got a blank screen on SB, so I don't know where he's going. Let me just do this. I had mentioned to you guys, where is it? Let me just bring this up again. This is what's going on in the market as we speak. I'm going to go and want to let you know, there's been a lot of people who have, emailed me over, I don't know, last couple months or anything. They're wondering, how can I get involved in this stuff here? Because there's so much that you don't know. And if somebody's not teaching you, it's almost impossible for you to understand. So we have a webinar coming up on Wednesday. What's that say? Wait a minute. What's that say at the top? Does that say there's a bombing? Wait a minute. Let it run through again. And here it comes. Come on. Come across the screen. Oil rises after Trump threatens, fresh strikes. Okay, Trump. Okay, that's why it's gone up. Well, that tells you right there. They're manipulating everything. Everything is being manipulated. And if you don't know how to play the game, you're going to be left out in the cold. So many people have asked me, how can I learn how to do some of the stuff that you talk about? And you have some of the guests on. So we have a webinar coming up on Wednesday, and it's with Ross Givens. And I want to let you guys hear this. Last week, we saw President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance drop the hammer on deep state fraud. Let me break it down for you in case you weren't paying attention, because this is huge and the mainstream media is barely even covering it. On Monday, the House Oversight Committee released a 205-page report. It was called The Cost of Doing Nothing. It named Tim Walz specifically, the man they wanted one heartbeat away from the presidency. And it also named specifically Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. The report was clear. Walz and Ellison knew all about the massive welfare fraud as far back as 2019. $9 billion in Medicaid fraud. $9 billion. $300 million in stolen nutrition funds. State employees tried to blow the whistle. They were intimidated. They were retaliated against. And then eventually they were silenced. The state had the power to stop the payments to the fraudsters, but they didn't. They chose not to because they feared bad headlines would hurt them politically. They let billions flow to criminal networks to protect their own political asses. Remember Feeding Our Future? Well, she just got convicted. $250 million scam. The ringleader was sentenced to nearly 42 years in prison for claiming to feed kids that didn't even exist. Within hours of that report, Vice President J.D. Vance, the chairman of the House Fraud Task Force, personally referred Tim Walz and Ellison to the DOJ's new fraud division. Vance said it plainly. Minnesota officials are not above the law. This is not talk. This is a criminal referral from the Vice President of the United States. And Minnesota, it's just the beginning, as you've been seeing on an almost daily basis. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says 10% of the entire federal budget, 10% of the entire federal budget, over $600 billion a year, is stolen through fraud. Trump's fraud task force, led by Vance, has already, and listen to this, they've already halted $260 million in Medicaid payments in Minnesota alone. They uncovered $6.3 billion in suspicious government contracts. They launched a national whistleblower program. The DOJ now has 8,000 active fraud cases. They just suspended over 400 hospice providers in Los Angeles alone. And with over $600 million in suspected fraud. It's mind-boggling. It's hard to even comprehend that this much money has been stolen, and we don't even know how far back they're going. They're also cracking down on election fraud. Dan Bishop is now chief election fraud prosecutor with nationwide power. This is a full-scale war on the deep state money machine. And for the first time in our lifetimes, we're winning. But here's what you need to understand. The same broken system that ignored welfare fraud for years. It also protects another kind of fraud. That kind of fraud that happens in plain sight, but it's actually not fraud. It's legal. It's on Wall Street. It's inside Congress. While Walsh looked the other way on $9 billion in stolen money, members of Congress used insider knowledge, classified briefings, committee seats to trade stocks and make millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions. And unlike welfare fraud, congressional insider trading is completely legal. They wrote the rules that way to protect themselves. And that's why I'm excited to bring on my guest today, Ross Givens. He's a 20-year Wall Street veteran. He's a former broker, fund manager, and vice president of investment management at J.P. Morgan Chase. Ross is the leading expert on congressional insider trading. He's followed these trades for years, and he's taught thousands of people how to legally piggyback to beat the market. He's holding a live free training Wednesday, June 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And you can click the link in the description below, or you can scan the QR code or go to insidertradeswithbarry.com. To reserve your spot, it's free. Don't miss it. And now let's talk to Ross about all this stuff that's been going on. J.D. Vance just referred Tim Walz to the DOJ over $9 billion in fraud. And while that was happening, members of Congress were trading stocks on insider information. With your experience, how is this system not completely rigged against regular Americans?
Well, I think the tax system is. I mean, I'm so glad. I'd love to see Walz in a jumpsuit, because even if you were complacent, you know this is happening. See, people ask me about this insider trading stuff, and yes, absolutely, Congress does it. They're cheating, they're using information, but let's just play devil's advocate. When they're doing that, how many dollars are they stealing from me? are from you? How many? Zero. It's not ethical, right? But like if they buy a stock and it goes up and everybody else who owns it made money too. So when you steal $9 billion of your and my labor, when you're taking tax dollars, that is a massive criminal offense that should be prosecuted. So yeah, it's a two-tier system for sure. I won't say it's the stock market's rigged against the average American. I don't think that's the case. I do think it is rigged in favor of these politicians, though, because just the amount of information they have, what they learn in committee meetings, in bills they're passing are going to affect certain industries of the market, and knowing when military action is going to be taking place or when big defense contracts are paid out. I mean, the certain companies, certain stocks are going to greatly benefit from that. And so if you know that information, you buy the stock early, it surges, you can make a lot of money. Pelosi made hundreds of millions of dollars doing just that.
You know, the other day we were on the show, we were talking about Gavin Newsom, and somebody showed me an article where it said he was gifted a $3 million house. And, you know, it's rigged. I'm like, no, you have to understand, you just don't know the rules. People can give you whatever they want. I mean, I even told him how the guy from Victoria's Secret gave Epstein that $80 million mansion in New York. Yeah, it smells, it looks really bad, but it's completely legal. The problem is, and what you've been doing, is people don't know how to do it. So can you walk us through exactly how congressional members are even allowed to do this stuff? I mean, the classified briefings, the committee seats, how are they beating Wall Street from their government offices?
Well, I can explain the stock part. If you're looking to commit Medicare fraud, I'm not your guy. I don't know how to do that.
Well, that's illegal. That's
illegal. And look, listen, make no mistake. What they're doing insider trading is technically illegal. It's not ethical. I don't support it. The reason I don't let it work me up is because all their trades are public. When a member of Congress buys a stock, they have to report that publicly, or when they sell. The same is true for corporate insiders, CEOs, CFOs, vice presidents. All their trades are public record. And so if they're going to do this, which they've proven they are, we might as well follow along. We're paying their salaries. So who do you want stock picks from? Some guy at a Charles Schwab office or Nancy Pelosi? Pelosi, 100 times out of 100, right? So you can use this for your own advantage. And again, I'm not saying it's okay what they're doing, but it just is not going to bother you so much if you made 10 grand or 20 grand piggybacking right alongside them. And so the reason we hold these free training events is to show people how to do this totally ethically, totally legally, but you can spot what they're buying when they're buying it. We look for these just obvious examples where, 3-4 members of this defense subcommittee who write the defense budget are loading up on this little random off the radar defense stock. Or, when someone on the financial services committee is loading up on some bank in the middle of monopoly legislation or something, right? And so if you follow along, you can do very well.
Who's teaching them? And why I say that, and just something that struck me, is it seems like as soon as they get elected, as soon as they get into Washington, they come from, bartender status or something, and all of a sudden they're worth $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. Is there somebody there who's taking them under the wing and saying, okay, here's what you need to do? I mean, it's not like something you can just all of a sudden learn.
Pelosi may have put together a training manual for all the junior senators. That's quite possible. My suspicion is this. So today in 2026, it's really hard to move money without a trace, right? I mean, you remember back in the 1980s, money laundering wasn't even a thing. It didn't exist. You could show up with a duffel bag full of cash and deposit at Wells Fargo, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Right.
Today, if I send you $20 on one of these cash sharing apps, there's a record of it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to bribe these people. My suspicion is if a certain, high-ranking executive wanted to win favor with one of these people and get them to vote a certain way, they might say, okay, I tell you what, this might be a stock you might want to buy right around here, right around this time. And there's no paper trail of it. To convict somebody of insider trading, which almost never happens, you have to prove that both they knew the information in advance and that they bought the stock with the intent of profiting from that private, non-public information. It's almost impossible to do. That's why Pelosi did this for 2 decades, never got so much as a slap in the wrist, even though the president of the United States himself stood up in the Oval Office with Elon, said, this sure is suspicious. We know she's doing it. Nothing happened. So when you've got the biggest face of Congress doing this for 17 years straight, these, as you said, junior senators come in, junior members of the House going, I guess this is okay to do. That's the example that was set. No one's ever gotten in trouble for it. Why shouldn't I make a couple million?
Of course, it makes sense. So tell me how the average working patriot can do these exact same trades when they don't have the Pelosi notebook sitting next to them. I mean, the congressional people are doing it. You're going to be teaching these strategies at the free training. And so with everything going on, the fraud crackdowns, the economy, all the uncertainty, what should everyday Americans be doing right now?
Well, that I think is the silver lining in all this. You know, they passed something called the Stock Act back in 2012. One of the guys that is going to stop them from insider trading. Funny thing about it is all it did was require them to disclose their trades. So it just helped us. They can still do it. They just have to report them publicly. And again, the corporate executives, your CEOs and the like, they have to report these things too. So, you know, as any investor, anyone in the stock market, whether you've never bought a stock before or you're a full-time, you're looking for an edge, some kind of advantage, either some level of insight, like I saw Tesla 10 years ago. I had the foresight to see it was going to be a big deal. I invested early and made 200 times my money, which most of us don't have. Or some level of access to information the general public does not have. I don't have that. I doubt you have that. Maybe at one little stock somewhere. So it stands to reason we want to follow the investments of people who know more than us. Who better to guess the earnings of the company than the chief financial officer who fills out the earnings report? Who best whether to predict how the drug trials go at a little pharmaceutical company than the guy running the drug trials, right? Who better to know who's going to win the big federal contracts than the people writing the budget? So it just kind of stands to reason these are the people you want to look to for advice. And so what we've done is, and we've been doing this for like 9 years now, make this real simple. So how do we take all this stuff, all these databases and trades and filter it down to just 4 or 5 that look like absolute no-brainers? Tons of people at the company are piling in for the first time in years. Several members of the committee are buying all at once. Somebody who never bought stock is now, and get in front of those. And the goal is, you know, set yourself in front of what could be these blockbuster opportunities. And when you look at the corporate guys, like you imagine half the C-suites all putting in $200,000-$300,000 a piece in their stock. What are the odds they're going to do that before they report, we had a tragic quarter, we're closing all of our stores? They're not going to do that. So you're taking a lot of the risk away, not all of it, but you're reducing your risk by focusing on the stocks at the times the people who know them best believe it's a good investment. And then you filter it down further by the ones that have these signs of just obvious opportunistic activity. So that's what we try to show people how to do. You know, I'm in South Alabama. I don't talk in jargon. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've had all the fancy securities licenses. I was VP at JP Morgan. Like, I look fine on paper, but like this all is very, very simple. At the end of the day, a stock is a slice of a company. If that company sells more stuff and makes more money, it's going to go up in value, right? So anyone can do this. You just need to, what I try to do, kind of guide you and show you the ropes. Here's what to look for. Here's what our big winners all had in common. Here's a couple dozen examples. And so I hope people attend this event. It is free. It's online. It's like an hour. I'll show you how to do all this. I'll show you where the databases are, what to look for. In fact, everyone who registers, even if you can't come live, I'm going to send you our most recent stock research pick. So you're going to get all of our research, the stock, the ticker, where they're buying. And I think when you see what's available to you and the kind of information that's out there, it'll make you want to come that much more. We've had a lot of people really have their eyes opened and frankly completely change the way they invest and they pick stocks.
A bunch of people from our audience, the Fanfare family as they're called, have come and loved it. And in fact, we're saying, why can't we come to the next one? And I got a question, and I always get this question because it's sort of like the people who, I guess they must cut their hair themselves because it says, you know, why isn't this information just available to the public? Why do you have to go to the webinar? How come the average American just can't do this or get in on the trades they're by themselves?
Well, they can. Yeah, it's all free. Like, I don't hold the keys to any of this. It's all out there. And that's the thing. Like, it's readily available to everybody. They just don't know where to find it or how to use it. I mean, what does the government do that's run efficiently and smoothly? Nothing. So do you think that the website and the databases, they track their trades, going to be easy to use? No. Does the Securities and Exchange Commission have any interest in helping you find insider picks? No. So it's there in a giant document dump, but how do I know what to look for? So that's what I'm doing. You don't need me. My hope is after you see this, you'll know how to do this yourself. It's readily available. So I'm just kind of like a teacher showing you, here's what to look for. Here's how to do this. Here's where to find everything. And these are the ones that are probably going to be the best opportunities. And if you apply that yourself and make some money, fantastic.
Somebody I had told a couple of people you'd be on the show, and I got a question, and I love the question because it means they're actually doing their homework. Here's a question I got. Everybody was going crazy last week over SpaceX, but a lot of people didn't realize, even if you got the IPO, for most people, there was like a 15 or 16 day window before you could do anything. What would you advise people, or I mean, this is probably easy knowledge for you. I personally, I don't know if you're telling people wait until after the 15, 16 day period, but what do you foresee with, SpaceX?
Well, SpaceX, there's two things going on. So in the short term, any stock's going to move based on simple supply and demand, just like rare cars or coins or anything else. And there was such demand for this IPO, more than any IPO in the history of the world. It was 4x oversubscribed. And so because all those people wanted it and didn't get IPO, it was pretty obvious it was going to run the first few days. And it did. IPO'd at 135, hit the market at 150, hit like 210. A couple days after that, it was down to 190, 180, something like that. So that's kind of cooling off. Long term, it's massively overvalued. Like it's a great company. I think if you held it for 10 years, you're almost guaranteed to do well. But right now, the stock is trading for 100 times sales.
Wow.
Most companies in the dot-com boom were trading at 10 times sales. So it's very, very overvalued. It's not as bad. Again, things can be great and not at this price. Like you may find a house you love, but you're not going to pay $17 million for it, right? So the price today, they're kind of pricing in all the success. Basically, today it's trading at where it should be in like 2028, 2029. I think you're going to have a much better opportunity to buy this around August or September, because over the next couple of months, these unlocks happen. So the venture capitalists, the early investors, the people that are up 5,000%, when they can sell their shares and there's tens of billions of dollars worth, all that selling at once, all that supply hitting the market when demand's exhausted is going to drive it down. So that's what I'd be looking for. But on that lockup window, and I don't think people realize this, it's not that you can't sell it for 15 days. They don't want you to. If you do, they may not let you participate in other IPOs. So Fidelity, I think if you sell it in 15 days, they won't let you have access to IPOs for the next 6 months. If you do it again, you're cut off for a year. If you do it again, you're cut off for good. So I tried to get a bunch of shares. They gave me like 10 shares. So if they gave me 100 or 1,000, I would have been selling all of them at 200. I'm going to take my 40, 50K profit and ban me for 6 months. I don't care, right?
I'll survive. I'll survive.
I'll be fine. And I said that on some YouTube videos, which may be why I didn't get very many. But yeah, if you're looking at it freaking out and you got it at 135, and let me see where this thing's at right now. I mean, as we speak, I don't know when this may air in a day or two. It's 185-ish, 190. Look, if you're up 40, 50% and you put a big chunk of money in this thing, you're up 40% in a week. That may be worth a 6-month IPO ban. You're probably not going to buy one for 6 months anyway. Most people had never bought one.
What you just said right there is worth the price. Well, it's free, but it's worth the time to spend with you, because everybody was talking about the 15, 16-day lockout, but nobody was saying what the penalty was. People thought they were going to take some of your shares, that they would fine you, and just the knowledge you just gave right there, that, you might not be able to get an IPO for 6 months. Maybe you might get an IPO for 12 months, but you're still going to get, you're going to pull your profit and make a bunch of money. I mean, so that just those little nuggets like that, everybody wants to learn how to do it, but they think they can do it themselves. And so you just laid out perfectly why it's so important for someone to actually show you what to do and how to do it. And you don't have to stay on the outside looking in. So if you want to understand how these trades actually happen, and more importantly, how you can legally spot and follow them, Ross is going to break it all down. Ross, how long is the live training?
Under an hour. I've refined this. I've been doing it for a couple of years. It's hard taking 10 years of your life's work and putting it an hour, but I've got it pretty good now in all the key points. So it should be 45 minutes to an hour. I'll show you everything from start to finish. If you've never traded a stock, there is nothing I'm going to say it's going to be over your head. And, look, you have nothing to lose, right? Worst case, as you said, you come away knowing something you didn't know before and how all this works. And you may be like some of our members who've really leaned into this and done extra. I mean, I've got members who made hundreds of thousands of dollars following this stuff, over the years. So, I think it's one of the biggest advantages out there for the everyday regular investor. It's a way to actually give yourself an edge legally, ethically, without breaking any rules, without staring at screens all day, just looking for these obvious, no-brainer opportunities with usually not a lot of downside and potentially really, really big upside. So I'm excited to share it again with your audience. They were fantastic the first time. Smart people, they ask great questions. Yeah. So if you went before, want to come again, want a refresher, more the merrier.
What level, you kind of just explained it, but I just want people to hear it directly from you. What level of experience do you need to get a benefit from this training?
None. I mean, you need to know how to do third grade math. You need to, be able to work a computer mouse. You need to understand what the words buy and sell mean. But, other than that, like, we're not getting into options and credit spreads and, credit default swaps. It's really straightforward. Like, anybody can open an account of Fidelity or E-Trade or Robinhood. The commissions are zero. You can place trades from your phone. You can buy any stock in the world in 10 seconds from home. You can sell it just as quickly if you're not feeling good about it. So it's never been easier to be an individual investor. There's never been more opportunity out there. Right now, we have the market is just ripping higher. We've got above average inflation, which you and I don't like at the pump and paying for groceries, but that also means asset prices, stock prices go up. We have a president who has made no qualms that he wants the stock market higher. It's kind of a scoreboard for him. We have AI, which is a once in a generation technological boom that is causing massive increases in efficiency. So we've got a lot of backdrafts at us, and that's powering the market higher. Things aren't going to get cheaper, right? So your choices are spend less or make more. And if we can find a way to make your money grow a little bit faster, or help you get in front of some of these opportunities, make a couple $1,000 here and there, that's my goal.
I have one last question for you. It's difficult for me, but you've been in the investment business for so long. I don't know how to answer it or even respond to some people who have a fear of prosperity. Everything President Trump is doing, he's always, like you said, talking about the stock market, talking about oil prices, trying to make things go boom. And it seems like a lot of people are afraid of prosperity. Do you counter? I mean, do you see that with some of the people? They're almost like they're afraid to dip their toe into this pool.
Yeah, I think look, I'm guilty of it, right? I had an old mentor of mine used to call. He said it's Alabama poor boy syndrome. You start making a few bucks, and you're like, I don't deserve this. I've got to give it away or spend it. But the other thing, I think a lot of people look at money and wealth and whatever the heck you want to call it as a zero-sum game. Yeah. And they think that every dollar you make takes a dollar from someone else. Elon Musk is a great example. He's hoarding money. He's worth $1 trillion. Like, he didn't take that from anyone. Right. And it's not cash anyway. It's pieces of paper. He was a trillionaire last week. He may be worth an 800 billionaire next week. Right. But we can all benefit from this. And the greatest example is, like, let's just say you could snap your fingers and overnight every single American had a PhD degree in engineering or robotics or some kind of hard science. What would we accomplish? I mean, we'd be able to deliver goods and services to people for fractions of the cost. Our lives would be better in every possible way. If you make $50,000 a year today, your life is better than the King of England 300 years ago in terms of actual quality of life. And so everyone wants to compare to how much he's got or he's got, but like, we can bring the quality of life up for everyone. We can all succeed. It doesn't take from one cup and put in another. Absolutely. There's not a certain number of dollars and that's it. And so it's a big world out there. Capitalism has made more wealth than anything else. And just when you hear these numbers, you're talking 9 billion here, 90 billion there, gone. Nobody's missed a beat. There's so much money out there.
Yeah.
So don't be scared to claim yours.
All right. So, Ross, this live trading is next Wednesday. As you're watching this right now, next Wednesday would be June 24th at 3 p.m. As you can see, it's Insider Trades with Barry. Just got the link right there, or it's in the description of the video. Either way, Ross, anything else you'd like to add before we part?
No, I appreciate you having me on. I love your show. Your audience has always been great and supportive, so I look forward to seeing them all again this Wednesday.
And I love it. And if you guys can't make it, or if you know somebody else who might want to go, feel free to share the link. Get it out to as many people as possible, because they'll end up thanking you once they sit down with Ross. Ross,
thank you.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Oh, my pleasure, Barry. Good to see you.
Thank you. Last time when we did this with Ross, we had over 600 of you that went to the webinar. I don't know how many people began trading, but 600 of you went to the training. So again, it's Wednesday. I'll be talking about it for the next couple days, just to try to get you guys to get in there. But it's well worth your time, and it's free. No, it really is free. You don't have to buy anything. So many of you had asked, Barry, how do we learn this stuff? And there's a perfect way. Now, I'm not a guy who's going to teach how to do stock, but I've done real estate for 30 years, and I can go inside it out with that. And so it's very interesting. SV, I guess these people are going back and forth with one of the members here. He's not being nasty, but he posted this and said, Barry needs to understand that housing is too expensive. I wish he would stop denying that reality. I'm not denying reality. You're not accepting it. You see how I put that back on you? When you say housing is too expensive, for who? You see, what I would consider expensive wouldn't be what you would consider expensive. We all have our relative areas of comfort in terms of where we're going to do something. You may not be able to buy 1,000 shares of SpaceX, but somebody else in the chat could maybe buy 1,000 shares of SpaceX. You may not be able to buy a $300,000 home, but it doesn't mean it's too expensive, because there are many, 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 many people who are buying homes at $300,000. Matter of fact, if I found a home someplace that I could buy for $300,000, I could probably sell it within 2 or 3 days. So it's expensive for you. And I don't mean that in a nasty way, but when you say housing is too expensive, you're the one who's denying reality. And your second is what you said here. And it says here, I really wish Barry would stop complaining about us young people wanting cheaper homes. I love Barry, but damn, 3-bedroom houses shouldn't cost $300,000. That was the rest of his post. So you said houses shouldn't cost $300,000. That is another tell. SV plays poker, I play poker. That tells me you're not accepting the reality, and you don't really understand how it works. There's this thing that you learn maybe in freshman or sophomore year in economics, and this thing is called supply and demand. A house wouldn't cost $300,000 if somebody wasn't willing to pay $300,000. Again, that's reality. I'm not making it up. There have been houses that I've bought, and the people were asking $300,000, and I would say, I'm not giving you more than $180,000. Give me a call if you'd like to take my offer. But then if somebody buys it at $290,000 or $300,000, then it's worth $300,000. What you're trying to do is get the market to accommodate you instead of you finding someplace that you can be accommodated in. The market is not going to work because of what you want. The market is going to work according to what other people want. And that's a strong slap in the face for many people, because when they say it shouldn't be $300,000, why not? You can't answer that question, because the guy up the street or driving by, I'll pay $300,000. Put it this way. You could go to a grocery store, any grocery store, and you can buy a 6-pack for probably, I don't know, I don't drink, but probably under $10, $12. But if you went to a bar and started ordering those Michelob Lights, you're going to spend for that same 12-pack $30, $40. Oh, it's too expensive. No, they're in the business to make money, and as long as there's other people sitting at the bar willing to spend $3, $4, or $5 for that beer, they're going to sell it for $3 or $4 or $5. It's simple economics. It's economics 101, supply and demand. There are more people demanding a home than you are willing to pay. It's that simple. What else did he say? And again, I like your comments. What's this one? Let us young people dream big and enjoy prosperity. If we want cheap 3-bedroom homes for $150, let us dream. But that's all you're going to have. Do you understand that? I don't mean to take up too much time, but if you're looking for a dream, go to sleep. You can dream all you want. If you want to get a bite of that reality apple, you have to basically buy a house that you can in an area that you can afford. It is that simple. I'm not going to spend much more time on it, but that's just how it goes. That's life, as President Trump said on the airplane. President Trump said on the airplane when they were talking about ticket prices for the, I think it was UFC or something. That's life. That's how it is. Not everybody can afford it. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. You're just not there yet. So you go to see a concert, maybe you need to buy the tickets up in the nosebleed section. You're not going to be able to afford courtside. It was Knicks he was talking about. You're not going to be able to afford a ticket for the Knicks. Doesn't mean you're bad. You're just not at that situation. So the reality that's not being accepted isn't me. It's you. You have to look yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, I can't afford it. And then the second thing you have to ask yourself is, what do I need to do so that I can afford it? And a dream's not going to help you. You actually have to take action. And maybe one of those things that you can take action on is go see Ross's webinar this week. That might be what you want to do. I'll be right back. If you're like most people our age, where your body often feels sluggish, you got to listen up to this. Here's what may be going on in your body. You may be having all of the signs of a clogged liver. You've heard how important your liver is for detox, digestion, and even energy. But most people have no idea how overloaded theirs really is. Processed foods, drinks, stress can all clog it up. And you don't want to ignore this because your liver is the most important organ in your entire body. It controls nearly every system that you have. A healthy liver equals a healthy you. That's why Dr. Josh, with over 25 years as a doctor, created Ultra Liver. It's a powerful, deep cleanse formula. Ultra Liver has already sold over 500,000 bottles and has thousands of 5-star reviews. After you order it, actually take it. And after just a few weeks, you'll say goodbye to fatigue, bloating, and skin issues. And you'll say hello to real energy, clear thinking, and a body that feels 100% again. The stuff works. If you're ready to unclog your liver and get your energy back, go to tryultraliver.com/Barry right now. And when you go there, you'll see that Dr. Josh is running a big summer sale, up to 50% off, but only through the link here in Fanfare, and the link is in the description below. Click it, grab your supply, and take control of your health today. All right. Oh, there's SV. I'm not talking. I'm not looking at him at a blank screen. There you are. How you doing?
Wait a minute. The power's going out.
I thought the aliens came and got you, or maybe the Democrats came and plucked you out of it because you're making fun of our Spansburger.
that might happen one day, but not today.
Yeah. Thank you for highlighting that comment, because I could tell some people that they're not just bitching, they want some information. And They can't
Right.
get it readily from other people. They don't see seize the opportunity that you have before them. So going to see Ross's webinar Wednesday about how to buy stocks doesn't mean you have to buy stocks on Thursday. You just start accumulating information. You want questions about real estate? Go ahead and ask me. I'll try to show you the best way to go about this stuff. So maybe I need to have a real estate webinar. But what you got? You got something about?
Well, I was gonna say before we get to that Colombian story. For me, I mean, my first house was $50,000. It was like a starter home, and once I was able to afford it, I moved to where I am now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the problem is people they have that mentality where I gotta have it like now, like they're so used to getting things quickly, but buying a $300,000 home at the beach is not something you're gonna have right away.
Wait.
More.
It doesn't exist.
Well, in some areas, maybe down North Carolina, like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, not down here.
Not in Florida. No, down. You had one that was what, $64 million right there by the water. $64 million, and that was owned by the fraudster. The fraudster owned that one.
It's absolutely crazy.
Oh, did you check into that? Did you look at that address?
I'm going to cover that tomorrow. Because
Awesome.
I see Trump's schedule. He's not doing anything, so I got to come up with a full show tomorrow. Well, put it this way: as of right now, he's not doing anything. We don't know what ends up happening, so we shall
I
see.
won't hold my breath on that one.
Yeah, I know.
All right,
especially if the talks tonight don't go well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I sent you. So there had the election in Colombia. So the first thing, that's the first one. Colombians just surged to the streets after a massive right-wing Trump-endorsed victory for De La Espriella, the nation's next president. So Trump is about to pick up an incredible ally, just like Bukele, is that how you say it? And Javier Milei. And then the next video, which I thought was pretty cool, is a minute video. Everybody was out there celebrating, like 100, I didn't count millions of people, but many people in the streets. But they had not only had their flags up, they had our flag up.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty neat. Look at
Freedom!
that. Celebrating freedom from. And what's interesting too, Eric wrote it on there. He says, is it any coincidence that the right wing's rise coincides with the destruction of USAID and leftist funding abroad? There are no coincidences.
No,
it's also part of I said Donald's doctrine,
Look at this guy here with looks like some sort of ceremonial mask. I just happen to see that. This guy right here. I happen to look at him like, wait a minute. That guy has got like a lion head, man. These people are serious. Now understand that also with Nayib Bukele and Javier Milei, and now this guy. Isn't the Avengers down there taking really good shape at this point? Really good shape.
Cuba.
It's a what do they say? It's a fait accompli. It's going to happen. I mean,
Western Hemisphere.
And again, one of the socialists' worst nightmare for sure. And then I saw you sent me something from our buddy Clandestine as well. What's he got to say here?
Well, that dovetailed in what you were speaking about probably at the beginning of your show. About how the media is aiding and abetting our enemies. I mean, of course, like CNN, MSN now is saying that Iran's winning after Trump had to put out those True Socials say, done. The ships are at the bottom of the sea. The Navy's gone. So he was just talking about the MSM as serving as propaganda arm of Iran because the Dems, MSM, and Iranians all serve the same masters. They're all controlled by the same transnational criminal organization, and they are desperate to prevent Trump from uncovering their vast criminality.
I'm going to stop him right there. I'm going to stop him right there. I have a disagreement. They are all controlled by the same transnational criminal organization. No. They are controlled by the deep state. But I guess that could be a transnational organization.
Are they all connected?
Yeah, that's exactly who it is. Sure. Because in order to be pulling strings in Iran and pulling, the way they're acting here, it's got to be entities that have the ability to touch far away places and very well funded to the point where these media people have to be getting paid somehow, and
absolutely,
their worst nightmare is that Paramount's about to close on CNN. And then, of course, we know that CBS has already gone south. So they're in big trouble, big trouble.
I was just curious. I'm going to grok real quick. How much does Caitlin Collins make? I mean, she earns $3 to $3.5 million per year.
How?
Think about that for a minute.
Yeah. How? All of them are like that. They're getting paid enormous sums, and they're the most inept people you'd ever want to see. How is it possible? There's not enough revenue for. I mean, well, we know how.
Yeah,
but
I was going to say CNN doesn't have a lot of viewers. I mean, I think there more people work at the station than viewers. That's my estimate. But her net worth is estimated $6 million, and here she is complaining. What about the poor peoples? I mean, or Bernie the other day too. The same thing. Look out for those oligarchs. You know, those
you're not supposed to know that Caitlin Collins has that kind of money. They don't talk about it. You know, you're not nobody. Not. Those are all our people. You mean all the rich people that you want to, eat and tax the rich? The same people on these networks? Come on, it's all.
And they would never invite one of these illegal migrants into their home. I guarantee you. I mean, that's why they have armed guards and big high walls and fences, and they're all hypocrites.
Not with her jewelry and everything else she's probably got in that house. No way. In fact, I think she just bought a condo or something down here too. I've been hearing stories about the fact that she had bought a property down here. Funny, y'all complain about they all complain about Florida, and then they move down here or get a second home. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
What a coinkydink.
All right, man.
That's all I have for now.
I'm going to do a libtard zone. So thank you very much. All right, guys. Enjoy this. I hope you will.
No man should ever enter where we are going. Beware what lurks in the depths of the libtard zone.
Save yourself. Save yourself now. Leak, and more leaks. By the way, you just wait another 6 weeks.
I just want to draw your attention to the collection over his right shoulder that I'm pretty sure he imbibes in quite a bit. Wow, that's a lot of liquor for you, James. How much of that did you suck down before you got on camera? Yeah, old degenerate.
No one's going to doubt me when I tell you. He's going to be gone by April of next year. The fat bastard has just fallen all over himself. He don't know where he is. He can't get out of a chair. Go look at the approval ratings. There's a new poll coming out in the Wall Street Journal. Oh,
do they just keep paying him to keep moving back his dates? I mean, he's going to be gone by January. Okay, hold on. He's going to be gone by April. He's going to be gone by October. It's the same stuff. It's the definition of insanity, saying the same thing over and over again. Maybe it's fueled by, it looks like Jameson and Johnny Walker back there.
My God, never seen anything so devastating in my life. So, you're on a burning ship. As unpleasant as might think that you got to jump in the cold seat, that's your only shot, dude. Jump in the cold seat, leak, get cutouts, all right, get burner phones. I don't know, you get, maybe somebody can do untraceable things. I'm not y'all much more technology oriented than I am, but they're going to try to come after you and subpoena everything you got. So be damn careful. Be damn careful about not leaking anything to do with military preparedness and national security, anything like that. You don't want to get, because they'll try to do that. And look around and try to save your ass.
Boy, does this guy sound drunk to you? Does this guy sound like somebody who's in a winning position? Does he sound like, we've got this made in the midterms. We're good. I don't even know what he's saying half the time.
That's what I'm telling you. Do what you can. Try to save your ass, because right now it's grass, and the lawnmower of history is coming, and it's coming quickly. You better get out of the way. Thank you.
Number 9.
I'm not a politician, but I think that the people who deserve to be prosecuted or whatever it is
for misusing the Justice Department and abusing, I believe, American citizens and American politicians, or whether you want to say political rivals or whatever, I think that they should face, some sort of justice.
When I was talking to you earlier about the Retribution tour, this is specifically one of the things I'm talking about. They're letting us know in no uncertain terms. They are letting everybody know if somehow they were to be ordained and got back in power, we're all screwed. They're actually saying it out loud. So yeah, I want a Retribution tour.
Oh, well, I absolutely believe that. And I believe that there should be there should be accountability.
But how does that look like in a legal realm?
And especially for people in the highest roles of power and authority, those who abuse their power and authority should be held accountable, and there should be consequence.
If you are president, let's just say in 2028 you are elected, will you make sure that there's accountability?
Oh, I believe firmly in accountability. Yes.
She can't get back in office. None of them. None of them can. They're telling you straight to your face, oh, if we get back in power, we're coming after all these people. You think they're going to stop at Trump? You think they'll stop at Don Jr. or Ivanka? Oh, no, no, no. They'll come for me. They'll come for you. They will get records. They will come for everybody. They will ruin our lives. Yes, we want retribution.
Number 8.
This is this horrible thing, the SAVE Act, one of the worst, most anti-election democracy things that's ever been proposed. They say it's all about ID, voter ID. It's not. They will remove 25 million people.
People. He didn't say Americans, 25 million people. Did you just tell us, Chucky, that there are 25 million illegals? Is that what you just said? Or the 25 million illegals plus the dead people and people aren't supposed to be there? Or is that where your election is right now? If we're somehow, we get the Save America Act passed, which we have to, it's over. They know it's over.
The rolls. Why? Because they'll require under this act, which is not going to pass, and we're not going to let it pass. We've defeated in court. I was a lead plaintiff in the decision to do that. We've refused to give them the votes that they would want for this. We never will.
Meanwhile, the start of this is going to be building power. At the end of the day, I firmly believe that we are facing fascism in this country.
Says the dude with a Nazi tattoo. How much of a brain-dead idiot do you have to be standing in front of these people? The people at this meeting right there. How brain-dead do they have to be for this guy to be talking about we're facing fascists while you're the fascist? What did they do? How did they convince these people that this is okay? That everything's fine because we're going to be fighting fascists with our other fascists.
Historically, the only thing that's ever beaten that is a broad-based working-class coalition.
Number 7.
I would submit to you, the president is not just some Archie Bunker racist, but is a movement white supremacist.
Just telling you. I know many of you never see this stuff. You never find it. It doesn't come across your feed, but you need to understand they're coming for us. They're making no bones about it.
I think we've got to face this and just stare it right in the eye.
Number 6.
Yeah, look, we've talked a lot on this show about the cowardice of large law firms.
In case you don't know, this guy is Mark Elias. He is the Democrat sue arm, him and Rosen guy, the other guy that does it with him, Norm Eisen. Yeah. And all they do is sue. Every time you see a lawsuit, that's them. They're suing. Now I want you to listen to his message here, and it should give you a little bit of comfort because you realize they know they're screwed.
The large law firms are just taking it from their clients. I mean, corporate America has been coward in the face of Donald Trump, frankly, going back to his first term. Like, after January 6th, all these corporations, issued nice statements saying how they were not going to support any of the insurrectionists or candidates that voted to not certify the election. They now all support those insurrectionists and the candidates and office holders who support them. Corporate America, which once claimed to be able to do anything, when it came to voter suppression laws in 2021 under Joe Biden, they announced that they couldn't do anything. And so we over and over and over again see that corporate America is turned its back on democracy. You mentioned Paramount. Paramount owns CBS News. Paramount is soon to likely own CNN. Have we heard anything from Barry Weiss, who's been put in charge of those companies? Has she denounced this?
See, Barry Weiss used to be one of them. And she got a great job, great gig at CBS. And she's chopping them up, getting rid of them. So I guarantee you what the next move they're going to make is they're going to begin suing corporations. See, the corporations are no longer playing ball with them. The corporations are no longer doing their dirty work. The corporations are making money. Hence, that's why they're corporations. See, it was easier for them to control the corporations when USAID and all these other programs gave them such a war chest that they could, supplement. Hey, listen, I know you're losing money. It's not that great, but keep doing this stuff against the Republicans and conservatives, and we'll get you some money. And now these corporations are like, sorry, we got to go with the way that the sales are going.
Has David Ellison, the owner who sought these approvals, has he said anything? There's just an absolute deafening silence on the part of the large corporations, like the large law firms, like, too many of the other large institutions of society, in the face of what Donald Trump means. And it is absolutely immoral. It is absolutely wrong. And it just goes to show that when they say they care about democracy, they are lying. When it becomes convenient for them in 2 years or 4 years for them to say that they stand with the American people, they will be lying then, and we should remember not to celebrate or believe their lies.
They're coming for the corporations. They didn't get what they want, and now they're going to go attack corporations. If they get back in power, they're going to destroy some of these businesses who are no longer towing their line. They just look where the puck is going in this regard, and that's what they want to do. They don't want CBS to be owned by Paramount. They don't want Warner Brothers to sell. Everything is collapsing on their head, and they don't know what to do. So you can sue and sue and sue, but they're not even winning the lawsuits anymore.
Number 5.
There are cases in which migrants to New York have committed violent crimes, including murder, in this district.
All right, so just so you know, this is one of the districts in New York. You heard about this woman earlier when they were talking. She is a communist, masquerading as a socialist. The guy on the right there, she's beaten him already pretty much. He's going to have to concede. But you have to listen to what her mentality is in terms of how she wants to help govern New York City.
Under normal circumstances, undocumented defendants charged with crimes go through the system, and if convicted, they get deported before or after serving time. Ms. Chevalier, you recently said on WNYC Radio that defendants who commit crimes should not be deported after serving time. Why is that?
Because we have a criminal system. It's an imperfect system. It's an imperfect criminal system that I've been critical of, but we have one. And if we truly believe in a system where we don't have double jeopardy on the basis of where someone was born, then we cannot also have a system of punishment that is unique to people who were born elsewhere.
The hell are you talking about? She's saying double jeopardy applies to different crimes. Well, no, if you steal something and you get arrested for stealing something, and at the same time you're not supposed to be here, that's not double jeopardy. That's 2 different crimes, moron. And of course, the moderator didn't say, what the hell are you talking about? But this is who they're voting in.
We need to make sure that if we really value equality in this country, that we are treating people equally, regardless of where they were born.
regardless of where they were born. Doesn't really matter. She is conveying all of the rights of Americans on every, not some, every single one of the newcomers. All of them. And she's going to win.
It cannot both be that a person who has citizenship is tried and convicted in one way, and a person who does not have citizenship is tried, convicted, and then forced to also endure another type of punishment on the basis of where they were born.
Wow. Wow. Again, if you didn't hear it yourself, it doesn't make any sense. It's like these people are completely brainwashed. She can't be more than 27, 28. What the hell happened in her life where she's become so disconnected? Doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. And yet there's some people like, yeah, a whole lot of people, we're going to vote for her, okay? Let's let her win. Coming to a town near you.
Number 4.
See, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Stephen Miller, they offer a small, closed, menacing vision of America defined by fear and scarcity and exclusion. They imitate the blood and soil rhetoric of history's worst regimes.
We're Nazis. Hey, they haven't even slowed down. They don't care. We're going to, and people back there clapping, absolutely clapping. Because Stephen Miller and Trump and everybody else, J.D. Vance, they're all Nazis. Retribution? Retribution probably isn't a strong enough word.
Number 3.
Clearly, these are programs for every single New Yorker. These are not programs that are going to ask the immigration status of any one of the children.
Here we go again with the children. The children. And it's for everybody. Everybody living here, not Americans. We're going to take your tax dollars, New Yorkers, and we're going to give your tax dollars to everybody. And if we need more, we're going to tax you some more because all these children need to be taken care of. Well, I didn't have them. They're not my kids. That doesn't matter. They're here, and we're going to give them free stuff. Well, I guess it's not free. Stuff paid for by you. Too bad.
All of those children are New Yorkers. They should all be enrolled in pre-K and 3K, no matter where they were born or where they come from. And we are also proud to be a sanctuary city. What a sanctuary city means is that we have policies in place, policies that have existed for years in this city, that deny ICE agents access into schools, hospitals, city properties, or even the properties of city contractors.
I'm telling you, I mean, the more I hear about this stuff, the more I do research. I don't know how we get out of this without the military. They are making these places impenetrable. You can't come into schools. You can't come into city offices. You can't come into daycare. You can't come into businesses. You can't come into voting polls. You can't do anything. You're basically making ICE toothless. You can't do anything. And we're not going to allow the police to work with you. Meanwhile, we're going to take the money that you pay for public services and we're going to give it to the very people who aren't supposed to be here.
Unless those ICE agents can present a judicial warrant signed by a judge. We know that the vast majority of the time, ICE agents are not presenting that kind of documentation. If they're presenting any documentation, it tends to be an administrative warrant, and oftentimes there isn't any documentation even provided. So we want to make clear the rights of every New Yorker that they have.
And notice they keep saying these words, every person that lives here. They don't say American. As you're traversing the interwebs and you're on Facebook or you're on X or something, and listen to the verbiage. They no longer say this is about America. Yeah, we need retribution. Let's not shy away from retribution anymore. Let's make sure every single person knows we are 100% about retribution because you are making sure we have to make a stand. We don't have any choice because you're still advancing with your troops. You just expect us to lay down.
Number 2.
I really, truly believe this.
Okay. This is more from the Don Lemon show. And this woman ran for president. Looks like she's planning to run again. And she's going to say something here where, just like the other lady from New York had no idea what the hell she was talking about, you will watch this 30 or 40 seconds. I doubt many of you will be able to understand. Not that you can't hear it. She makes absolutely no sense. This woman wanted to be president.
We each have light inside of us. And we need to know that that is what inspires our hope as much as anything external to ourselves. And when we feel that and not allow an election or an individual to dampen that light, and instead let that light kind of carry us, in particular through moments of darkness, that we not only act on that hope.
Even Don Lemon is looking at her and saying, what the hell is she even saying? But, you know, I'm here because I'm a Democrat and I want to support Democrat candidates. But what the hell is this woman even saying about the light inside? And, huh? What?
But we inspire that hope in each other. And in particular at this moment, it is so important that we not only have hope, but that we understand that that should be a verb.
Oh, poor Don Lemon. That was one clip of Don Lemon, and I said to myself, bro, that must have been tough. What was going through your mind? What was going through your mind as you're watching this woman throw up all over herself? I mean, it was verbal diarrhea. All right, so next, after everything we found out about Tulsi Gabbard, documents she put out, everything about Fauci, the media is not reporting. And here's why they're not reporting it. Because they were all complicit in everything he did. Listen to this.
Number 1.
It likely jumped species from an animal reservoir into humans and now is spreading among humans. Are you calling for the closure of the wet markets? I think they should shut down those things right away. I mean, it boggles my mind, because what we're going through right now is a direct result of that. And you have animals that come out of the wild that are sold at these open, what they call them, wet markets, where people buy these things for festive dinners or what have you. So there's every reason to believe that that jumping of species from an animal reservoir occurred. The most likely origin is a natural origin from an animal reservoir to human. What they did is they cleaned out the markets as soon as it turned out that it was clear that there were clusters coming from the market, which, you know, in typical fashion, I think, trying to make sure that things don't get pointed to them, they probably got rid of the animals that were the intermediary hosts there.
We weren't even allowed to talk about it. We weren't even allowed to discuss it. We weren't even allowed to make inference like, you're lying, bro. Now, it's funny here. Look and see if you recognize this woman who was talking to him. Hold on. You recognize her? Every Sunday she does a talk show on CBS. That's Margaret Brennan, one of the biggest lefty loon newscasters out there. And they had her out there protecting little Anthony as he lied and lied and lied over and over again.
Of origin was not within the market itself.
No, I don't think you could say that. I don't think you can say that. I think you could say we don't know how and where it originated. There are wet markets in Wuhan that are ample opportunity for a virus to jump, but more likely that it's a natural occurrence from an animal reservoir to a human.
So it came from a wet market.
All right, so I know most of us hate Chris Cuomo, but even he at this point was like, what are you talking about, bro?
The same place where there's this huge lab that does all the kind of development of exactly what this thing is, that's some coincidence.
It's a coincidence, but you know, there are so many labs all over China that have both labs and wet markets. If it were in Beijing or Shanghai, you'd be saying the same thing. You have a coincidence. There are no...
A coincidence. This man was on television almost 24/7, and now we're finding out what really happened. And the same news organizations, that put him on back then, don't want to even mention what Tulsi Gabbard dropped. CBS, no time. CNN, nothing. NBC News, nothing. MSNB, whatever it is, nothing. Not a single second have they spent talking about what Tulsi Gabbard put out there. That's why it's important for you guys to listen and talk about it, because people you know aren't getting the truth.
Lab leaks that have led to pandemics. So there have been accidents in a lab that happens intermittently. We've had experiences with that in modern times recently, but there have never been a situation where a virus escaped from a lab that's a brand new virus that no one has ever seen before that led to a pandemic. That has not happened.
Something's got to happen. Something's got to happen. Like, I know he's got a pardon. So we're talking about something that's very tough here, because we're going to have to find a way to remove that pardon. Or what I think is, because where was that part where, hold on, let me see if I can show this to you, because it was something I thought when I saw this on screen. All right. So when you see this on screen and you see, worldwide, meaning all these other countries across the world were people who were supposedly fell victim to this thing. So if we can't charge him here, if we can't put this guy, we can't put this elf in jail here, why won't we let someone else do it? Let China do it. Let Russia do it. Let one of these other countries put him in a gulag. He'll want to serve time in America. He'll realize at that point, maybe I should do something here in America, because you go to jail in Russia for what you've done, you're done. You're really, really done. I think this man has more trouble ahead than he knows what's coming. I hope he does. I hope he can't sleep at night. All right, SV, you here? Let me see. There you go.
Yes, I am. I have some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Yes. The last story, OSINT Defender. It's not confirmed by Trump, of course, but these guys usually get stuff that eventually turns out to be kind of true. But it's a joint statement from Pakistan and Qatar, the two principal mediators during this round of U.S.-Iran talks in Lucerne, Switzerland. The current round of negotiations has now ended. Per the release, both sides have committed to the formation of a high-level committee that will coordinate working groups focused on nuclear, sanctions, and a monitoring and dispute resolution group to ensure the effective implementation of the MOU and on other matters. Additionally, a de-confliction group will be formed to coordinate the cessation of hostility between Israel and Lebanese Hezbollah, a key point of contention between Iran, the U.S., and Israel. And I looked at the two, obviously it can be AI generated, but it's dated like today over there, or tomorrow for us. So interesting.
And that came out at 9:27, so just about 10 minutes ago. Let me see if the White House team has released anything since that came out.
Truth Social just had 35 minutes ago. He won big, talking about the Colombia victory down there. But I've been hitting refresh, kind of like a lady at Las Vegas slots. Nothing.
I'm looking. He's got something. Lindsey Graham said something about New York Times.
Tomorrow could be busy.
And then
maybe a press conference tomorrow.
And then he just posted about Trump-backed candidate in Colombia holds narrow lead in presidential. All right. Well, yeah, we may see tomorrow. And when I checked the White House pool, one of the things I was looking for was to see if J.D. Vance has gotten on a plane or something. And and these guys, these guys work 24/7. So it's not like
Yeah.
they would know. I mean, so the last thing they put up was 2 hours ago. So if he gets on a plane or something, we shall find out very soon. Interesting.
Absolutely.
All right,
And
man.
other than that, I was just seeing other videos. Colombia, they're having a great time. Some people now have hats that say "Make Colombia Great Again." Like they have the red hats. Like they're loving it. They're digging it. They're having a great time.
They've got
celebrating.
Colombia, make Colombia great again.
Yes.
That is very, very cool. All right, man. Again,
Have a great evening, everyone.
To everybody, happy Father's Day, and for the rest of your Father's Day, if you're waiting for that call, I hope that call definitely comes. Thanks, SV.
Good night.
All right, so let me do super chats, and you guys can be on your way, and I can go get some dinner and talk to the wife. Let me see here. Move this over. Monday, Pakowski. Thank you. You didn't tell me whether you got your hat. We're waiting for you to give this confirmation. Cutting edge. The issue of them calling us infidels is not because of their culture. It is the basis of their religion. 1400 years and they have not changed. Exactly. Psalm 9 verses in your book call for our slavery, submission, or death. Yeah. The new right-wing candidate in Colombia wins the presidency. America, baby. Yes, indeed. Catalina, Barry, the first thing is to call the communist socialists only the nicest to convict people. Listening to Cuba lady. John Robinson, Magans have morals, traditions, old school. So many cultures are here from last 50 years. Our ways, boomers, have been diminished badly. Midterms are very important. Yes, absolutely. Rest in peace, your dad's 1989. That's very nice. Nicholas, Barry, I recently started investing, trying to do my part to become prosperous. I am very excited as I have skin in the game. Thank you for your program. Oh, you go, man. You go. Pakosby, happy Father's Day to all fathers, regardless of politics. Cutting Edge, the girl in a district in New York City is trying to represent my people, Dominicans. Thank to God, even my people are talking about her. She believes in Islam too. Where are they finding all these people? Where are they finding them? Ozark, very pleased. Google his name on the show. This is crazy. Michael. I know what that name is. You want to get me in trouble here. Michelle, excuse me. Penny McCorder. If they aren't citizens and they commit crimes, doesn't matter where they were born, does it? Nope, they need to go. They need to get the heck out of here. Tinley, outside of enjoying the World Cup so far, I've been hopeful for our nation. I believe the Lord will never abandon the people who say, thank the Lord, amen, and God bless. Jesus always wins. And Tinley again, speaking of election, Peru about to fall in line too. Oh, wow. I didn't know Peru was having an election as well. So have to check that out. All right, everybody. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow, probably around 4 o'clock if Trump's not doing anything. Bye.